Hey, and happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome live to Reconnected. And this week, somebody brand new to the channel has never been on for a discussion, never been on for a Reconnected. It's semi-rare lately, so thanks for coming on. Anthony King from the Cult Movies Podcast and F This Movie.
Hey, Ryan. Hello, everybody. I'm super excited about this, so I appreciate the invite, Ryan.
The big thing, everybody always says when we start these, if there's a wall of physical media behind them, it's about to be a good show.
I don't. This is literally the only place in my house where like we can set up because my wife works from home, and it's like she won't let me keep my stuff upstairs by our TV. And it's like I'm not doing this because I'm trying to be like cool and like look at all my stuff. It's really just the only place I can have it, but it works out, being a movie talker. It's like, well, if I'm going to be on camera, it works. So,
well, we could just be two movie talkers together tonight. This is exciting. Physical media. We don't know much about your history for anybody that's never listened to Cult Movies or F This Movie. So how long have you been into movies and physical media, my friend?
Fairly new, within the past probably 10, maybe even less years. I've always been a big movie fan, but collecting, and I wouldn't even call myself a collector because I was a stay-at-home dad for a long time. So like I never had any sort of that discretionary funding to go out and pick out movies. But when I got married, my wife was like, "Oh, you have a lot of movies." And I thought, well, not to, compared to some other people, but over the years, it just accumulates, and I can't throw waste. I mean, like over where's it at? Over here, like Family Guy on DVD.
Right.
I can't throw it away. Wait, if I pull that out, it's gonna be caked in dust. But and then VHS, whatever.
So, well, one of my pickups tonight is going to be exciting for people that like VHS and vintage media. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Sweet.
What kind of films do you prefer to pick up on physical media?
I'm a big horror guy, but I like recently, within the past couple of years, I've really fallen in love with 70s dramas.
Interesting.
Like really, I love really, really heavy movies. And so my friends and I joke around in November, we call it Sadvember. And so I dedicate, after watching all horror movies in October, November, we watch like just really, really heavy drama, Ordinary People, The Ice Storm sort of thing. Right. But it's very much my shit. I love, really heavy dramas. And, like I said, the 70s, of course, is everybody's favorite decade. But, man, there's so many things to explore, so many emotions like coming to the surface that filmmakers just sort of put out there. And it's still so prescient to this day. So I love a good, heavy 70s drama.
Nice. Sounds like you probably like Kino Lorber quite a bit then.
Yes. And thank God the sale went live today, right? Fall sale.
So many people have already placed orders. That is absolutely true.
I have to get permission from my wife before I go ahead, but yeah.
Smart man. Smart. We got a lot of people in the chat already. One of the more useful comments so far, Caveman says, let everybody know that Big Lots is having a 20% off sale this Saturday and Sunday. But importantly, this includes Blu-ray, DVD, 4Ks, and it usually doesn't. That's pretty cool. We've been talking about this for a week leading up to this. Do you happen to know John Peters? He's a fellow Omaha resident.
I don't know if we've ever met. We may have at the Alamo one time, but I don't think we've ever met in person before. But of course, we're in the same circles, so it's on social media, so it's crazy.
Yeah, John's everywhere, and he's been real excited to get more Omaha representation. He was on here last October, so I guess we go about a year between Nebraska residents. We got all kinds of exciting people on here tonight, and one of the big things is we're going to be talking about 1982 before we get into all the announcements and all that, why 82? Is the year special to you for some reason?
Well, that's the year I was born. But I did a few years ago at this movie, I did a year-long retrospective 1982 movies, and not like I went digging and
Right.
wrote every week, wrote about 1982 movies, and then and so that was my 39th year up to my 40th, and so that's how I celebrated the last year of my 30s. But it just sort of continued, and everybody knows, some of the greatest movies of all time came out in 1982: The Thing, E.T. But there's so many hidden gems,
Yeah.
underrepresented gems, that I just kept digging into that year and still have only kind of scratched the surface. So I thought, well, heck, let's talk about 1982.
I go digging when we're doing some of these discussions, and of course, for every year out there on the internet, there's some super long, like 500 film list of here's our ranked list of the best of the year, and it's wild. 82 is one of the only years that you can get down to like 200 and still go, damn, that's a really good movie. Most years you get past like 45 and you're like, okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, see, that was the thing. So I did 52, 53, however many weeks are in a year, and like every single one of them were bangers, and I didn't cover like the super popular ones. All of them like were, and there wasn't one where I watched and was like, I don't want to write about this. Every single one of them I was like, yeah, all good, all great, loved it.
That makes sense. Yeah, my list was really hard to put together today. I think I did the top 3, and then I went, well, I could put the next 15 in the next 2 slots.
Exactly,
so,
right.
I'm excited to talk about it. Let's go into some other exciting things like recent pickups. Anything that you would like to highlight for everybody?
Well, let me see here. I get you know what? We're gonna do this right now.
We get a live unboxing.
Amazing. I had forgotten that I had this until I came down to, because I'm on a podcast break right now, so I haven't been down here for a while, and I came down and I was like, oh my god, I still have like a quarter of my stuff on the shelf still has plastic on it. I'm very guilty about that.
Same.
So I got Shiva Baby, had to, because it was what, like $5, right?
It was very cheap.
Super
cheap. And it's nearly a perfect movie.
Yeah, exactly. And then before we hopped on, I was telling you, I'm not big on the blind buys because I've been burned a lot by, so many different companies. But I don't know. This one has just Scary Tales from AGFA.
It's actually fun.
Had been called, like, when they first announced it a couple years ago, I was like, and I'm not a big SOV guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. So I'm excited. I'm going to wait till October to watch that. So there's those two. And then, I am amassing my Rob Zombie collection. This one, and then 31 was the last Blu-ray that I needed. And they just on Amazon today dropped it from 15 to 8. So,
oh wow.
or not even 8, $6. So I went and of course had to buy it. So I now own all the Rob Zombie movies. I'm a big Rob Zombie guy.
I'm into it. In fact, Rob Zombie just played here last week, and my mom went and saw him.
We went and saw him in Des Moines like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was super fun. Now I'm a 40-year-old dad, so I spend a lot of time at True Value, just roaming the aisles. But also they have Movies You Buy. I don't know if you're familiar with Movies You Buy, Ryan. They're all, sort of like Big Lots sort of thing, or like the stuff you can get at Dollar Tree, right? So I picked up Final Destination, and all their movies are $5, and they're not like used or anything,
Yeah.
Dead Calm with Sam Neill and Nicole Kidman and Billy Zane. It's a thriller from Warner Brothers from the 90s. But written by George Miller. No, produced by George Miller. And I'd been wanting to see it, and like usually it's like, you have Spider-Man 2 and there's, Magic Mike's
Right.
XX dumb stuff that I don't care about. Dead Calm was in there. I was like, what? Yes, thank you, True Value Hardware. And then The Cell, which I'd never wanted to, when this came out, I never wanted to see it, but it sort of has a growing cult that
Nice.
it sold me. So, $5. I'm a sucker for every single day. I'm checking Blu-ray.com on the app, and usually I don't even care what the movie is. If it's like one of those $3.99 movies,
It's a win.
Come on. How can you like, please?
Right.
How can you not? So, yes, thank you, Paul Berryman. Dead Calm is a classic.
You're getting a lot of love for Dead Calm.
Yeah,
we got a couple Aussies that watch live right now, and then Erica from Unsung Horrors is calling out that Dead Calm is a 5-star child kill.
Oh, perfect, great. I assume she wrote about it in the book,
of course,
which I'm excited to read. So, anyways, that's a few, and then I have. I'm lucky enough to get screeners from different Blu-ray companies to review over at F This Movie, and so I have
nice.
A lot to sort of parse through, and I want to say this as someone who reviews Blu-rays, it's kind of difficult because you want to do the movie justice,
right?
So you watch the movie and then you watch it again with the commentary. And like I have Carlito's Way I'm trying to get through because it comes out next week. And that has like 2 commentaries. So you want to watch each commentary. You want to watch all the features. So like it's a huge time commitment. Again, tiniest violin in the world for me. But so I have, let's see. Oh, I just got the Messiah of Evil one from Radiance.
Ooh, Radiance.
Which I'm super excited about. Radiance has been very cool with me. I love Fran. And God, the stuff he's been putting out is like banger after banger. I just reviewed The Dead Mother, which is, have you watched that yet?
I've not. I just got mine in.
Incredible film. I mean, absolute. I was blown away. And it was one of those that I watched it and I was like, interesting. It was it's like a 3-star movie, but as the days gone by, it's like clearly it's a 5-star movie for me. Like it is so interesting. But that's like everything Fran is putting out. The Sunday Woman, fill her up with like everything and stuff I've never even heard of. It is it's beautiful. So I'm excited to dig into the Messiah of Evil, which is a movie I love.
It's a great movie.
But he puts together such a great package. So I'm excited to dig into that. And then, like I said, I'm working my way through the Carlito's Way one from Arrow, which is just stacked to the gills.
It is
all sorts of cool features. So, lots of stuff to watch.
I've got 2 that I'm going to show off, and they're both semi-selfish. One is the OCN release from Altered Innocence of Coming Out. I loved this movie and super grateful. This is the first disc that's actually been produced that I can see my name in the credits on. I edited the visual essay on this one, and it's really, really important. I really hope some people check those out because that movie is astonishing, and it literally premiered the night that the wall came down in 89 or 87 or whatever it was. That was it's such an important time. And then I see that he's in the chat, so let me go and bring up a comment from Brian who says The Cell is awesome. But last week, and I feel bad because I forgot to bring it downstairs for last week's show. I should have shown it then. He hand delivered. He came from New York to carry a load of laser discs to his brother and hand delivered me 2 of them. And I'm going to show the Japanese cover of Starman.
Oh.
And their covers are just astonishing. All of the artwork on this, it's beautiful.
It would be cool, and of course I don't know the logistics behind it, but like what if and I love that companies are hiring new artists and everything, but what if there was a company that only specialized in the Far East cover art? That'd be killer. Amazing.
Just like with Cauldron, they just got one of the artists to, wherever he's from. It's crazy that they're able to get that. I
Yeah, I
love
know.
that.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into recent watches, I think this is probably a good time to talk about cult movies and this movie. Cult movies seems to be the baby, so let's talk about that first. Can you tell us what Cult Movies is?
Well, it's a podcast all about Danny Perry, and I'll pull the first book. We just finished up the first book. So what we're doing, going through Danny's books. Now, Danny was a film critic in the 80s and 90s, and he in 1981 released this movie called Cult Movies: The Classics, The Sleepers, The Weird, and The Wonderful.
Yep.
And wrote about 100 cult movies, and it ranges from like Citizen Kane to Casablanca to Rocky Horror Picture Show, like actual cult movies. And in each essay, he doesn't love all of the movies he writes about, but in each essay he explains why he considers this to be a cult movie. And so like Casablanca, which I talked about with Sam, was interesting because like Casablanca had this revival in the 60s where nowadays it's, considered one of the greatest movies of all time. No, it's not a cult movie, which is true. Now it's not. But like in the 60s, it had this revival where these people in Boston would get together every weekend. They'd watch Casablanca and they'd go to the bar downstairs, and it'd be like a theme, and they'd all be wearing trench coats and, hats and stuff. So that's why it's in his book. Anyways, the whole point of the show was to bring more love to Danny. Danny is just one of the sweetest guys I've ever met. Gotten to talk to him a lot. We check in with each other, monthly, just see how things are going. And he's just such a sweet guy. One of my absolute favorite writers. When he writes about a movie he doesn't like, he doesn't shit all over it, but he explains why he doesn't like it. And then it's fun talking about that movie on the show. And a lot of the times I disagree with what Danny says, and so it's kind of cool to have that counteracting viewpoints.
Right.
So I started this, I don't know, 3 years ago, at the height of the pandemic, as many people started their projects. And then one, it was to bring love to Danny. Two, it was I needed to meet more people because I was turning into a gross hermit, and I was like, I need to talk to more people. So, I got to the very first episode I recorded was with Bill Ackerman from Supporting Characters, and Bill is the reason I had discovered Danny in the first place. So it was really cool. And of course, Bill and I have gotten close since then, and so I've kind of developed this family of people, regulars that come on the show. Erica and Lance from Unsung Horrors come on all the time. Jonathan Hertzberg from Fun City Editions, and then Daniel Epler and Matt Bledsoe, and Patrick Bromley from This Movie. So Heather Drain, Rachel McPadden, just sort of 20-ish people who I consider family at this point. We get together all the time. Chris O'Neill, one of the great video essayists of our time right now. And so recently just finally got through the first book. I break it into seasons, 20 episode seasons. So I finished 5 seasons, and I'm loving my break right now, and have no urge to get back into it. Cause it's a lot of work. We discussed the movie, and then for some dumb reason I said, okay, I also want to talk about pairing suggestions. So I started with, everybody's going to offer up 3 pairing recommendations for this movie. And I was like, okay, that's way too much. And now we're down to 2. And I'm like, that's still a lot, because, I want to try to go out and discover movies to pair with this, not just like do obvious stuff. You want to, recommend movies that are underseen. are underrated, and so it sometimes turns into a lot of work. I'm not complaining. Ryan, you're doing so much more. Like, it is inspiring to see how much you're doing right now. I'm exhausted just seeing what you're doing right now. But so I'm just like, I'm loving my break right now, focusing on writing at F This Movie, which I've been writing for Patrick for the past few years. And we've become very close. And there's just 4 or 5 of us that write for fthismovie.com, and he has his podcast every Wednesday, and I have a column every Friday. It's called Notes on Film. That is it started out as a film journal, but now it's focusing on just one movie, and then I'll figure out some sort of topic or something to bitch about for the week. So I love writing for them. So that, that's my life right now, and not complaining one bit.
That's exciting. And then I'm sure you can't talk much today, but just in person, I want to say congrats on what you posted today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's I started picking up other writing gigs is the thing, and so today I got to sign my first freelance writer contract. It's always nice to be able to get paid for doing something, you're passionate about, and you work hard at it for a long time, and it eventually it pays off. So I'm just super excited about all the opportunities sort of coming my way right now. And, not knock on wood, wherever wood is around me behind me, that, it's not like, this is it, this is your one chance. And then, so who knows? But yeah, I'm very excited.
I have felt that many times in the last year, I promise. Again, thank you. I appreciate everything that you're injecting into the community, and I just speaking as somebody that also does this, I know that we don't get told enough. So from one person that does enjoy pretty much everything you do, thanks for doing it, because it is great to read, great to listen to.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you, Ryan. And like I said, after last week's announcement, and then you'll talk about, but the zine, this, like, there's so much happening. And here's the one thing that one of the reasons, and I'm not bullshitting you here, the reason I'm sort of extending my break is because I've been for many years trying to work on this 80s cop book, or 80s cop movie book, like a cult movies book, but just sort of reviewing 80s cop movies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now's the time. And so I look around at people like you, and you're out like doing it. You're doing the thing. And I'm like, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to get off my butt, and like, I'm going to do like, now's my chance. So I appreciate you, because it's like, oh my God, look at this guy. He's like, right. Like, starting from nothing. You're just like, now look what you're doing. So it's super exciting. I'm happy for you.
I appreciate that. I didn't mean to turn it into a love fest, but it's always nice and positive. What's funny is that actually is a decent segue to talk about recent watches, because I'll do mine first. I made you share pickups first. My recent watches, I'm preparing for going on the Directors Club podcast that Bill Ackerman's on all the time.
Excellent.
With Jim. And I'm going on there with Billy Ray Bruton, my co-host on The Incinerator, and somebody I produce other podcasts for. And we are going to be talking about Don Bluth. So I have been living in amazing animation for the last 3 weeks, and I'm so excited to finally just regurgitate everything and just gush for a couple hours, because man, he was my childhood. I've been trying to watch everything. I still have 3 more to go to be able to say that I've watched everything in the last month, but man, Bluth is amazing at what he does.
My wife has been asking, because we try to do a family movie night. We have two young boys. Friday nights try to do a family movie night, and she's like, we should watch All Dogs Go to Heaven. I'm like, all I remember from my childhood is being completely traumatized, because I just remember it being so sad. Here, me earlier just gushing about, I love sad movies, I love heavy dramas,
right?
But I mean, it's Bert and Don together, like, we gotta do it. So, but yeah, his same, we're around the same age, I assume.
Yep.
I grew up watching Don Bluth. Like he's the man.
He's amazing. What have you been diving into lately?
Let's see here. I finally dug into the oh god, hold on. The Apocalypse tetralogy.
Nice.
Yeah, what's his name? Pieter's Sizulkin or
Sulkin,
Howard
yeah.
Sulkin. So I watched Gollum. I just watched the first one. But blown away. Like it's so weird, so interesting. It's it's super moody. And it was great to live in that world, which is terrifying to think about. But it was great to live in that world for like 90 minutes. I felt last year I read 1984 for the first time since I was in middle school.
You were feeling too happy?
Oh God. It's like I had nightmares for days. I mean, like as I'm reading every single night, I read it, took a week to read it. Every single night, just had nightmares. And then I'm watching Gollum. I'm like, oh God, I feel like I'm living, because I haven't seen the 1984 movie, but I feel like this might be the Polish version of night. It kind of felt like that. It's not a happy movie to live in, but I sure enjoyed it. So I'm excited to get through the other three. And it's, Sam did such a great job producing the set, so I'm excited to dig into it.
Yeah, Sam Deegan has been doing great things already in the first few months that she's been full-time producing over there. It's kind of wild to see the output already, and just super excited to see what the future holds for her now.
Yeah, for sure.
As if it wasn't bright enough before.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And the other one I just wanted to mention real quick is a new movie called Landlocked that premiered at Salem Horror Fest in 2021. And then I think a month later was down at Chattanooga. And then, as a lot of film festival movies do, it just sort of disappeared.
Yep.
But reappeared on Tubi, completely free for anybody to watch earlier this year. Landlocked from filmmaker, let me pull this up, Paul Owens. And it's he directs his brother, his other brother, and his dad, and that's it. And it's this crazy sort of meta, moody, really unsettling story about a kid, this older kid who gets a tape sent to him in the mail, and it's his dad saying, the house is going to be torn down a year after I die, so you need to go clean it out. So apparently guy's dead. Kid goes back to the house and finds an old VHS camera and notices as he looks through the viewfinder, he can see through the past. And so he goes around sort of recording memories and becomes obsessed with that. It's an incredible movie, like, made for $0. But it is, I don't know, I was so blown away by it that I wrote about it last week at F This Movie, and since had gotten to talk to Paul over Instagram Messenger, and sort of struck up a conversation. So it's an incredible movie, completely free, and it's like it was 75 minutes long on Tubi. Watch it; it is really, really interesting. So that's Landlocked. But other than that, just sort of going through my screeners and writing. So
Landlocked sounds like it'd be a fun double feature with Frequency.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, man. I haven't watched Frequency. That's a good.
Frequency is great.
I dig that. Yeah.
Very underseen too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a lot going on tonight. I totally forgot to mention at the beginning. I am staying live throughout the Vinegar Syndrome announcements tonight, so buckle in. We will be here late. Anthony might feel the need to go sleep tonight, but I'm planning on staying up. So just be prepared to be here for a while. We will hang out. We will look at the big 10-film box set the Vinegar Syndrome's announcing tonight, the VSU, and I think a couple other titles. So we probably should just get right into these announcements, if that's all right.
Yep.
Let's start With Treasured Films in the UK, they are releasing Mausoleum from 1983 on October 30th. This is the Mausoleum that Vinegar Syndrome released probably about 4.5, 5 years ago now. And this was one of, at the time, this was like the fastest selling Vinegar Syndrome slipcover when it first came out. It sold out, I believe, that first weekend. It was still very, very young in the slipcover phase for everybody getting into Vinegar Syndrome, but it did well, and I'm glad the UK is getting this. This is making its UK Blu-ray premiere, so it's the first time it will ever be out on Blu-ray over there. This is coming with 6 collector's art cards. If you buy it from their website, they made this magnet that they're calling Bitey Boobs, and there are only 500 of those, and supposedly they're selling very, very well. So if you want one, you may want to order soon. Love the art on this. This is Humphrey's art, and it's just incredible. In this, we're going to have a new commentary by Kim Newman and Barry Forshaw. Treasured Films coming out. This is only their 3rd release, and they're getting Kim Newman and Barry Forshaw on a new commentary. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm stoked on this. And then they got Bobby Breesy to come out of retirement to give a brand new exclusive audio interview. I mean, that's incredible. And it's 53 minutes.
Wow.
This is going to be an incredible release.
John Harrison doing that. I'm obsessed with Marjoe Gortner. If you haven't read John's book on Marjoe, he covers all the movies, the record. Marjoe recorded all the TV appearances. So that video essays, that's for me, that's a huge selling point.
It's a big deal. This is a really big deal, and I'm so glad that they're getting it. I mean, they have Stephen Thrower on this for 30 minutes. I can't remember if that was on the Vinegar Syndrome release, but either way, like, this is a solid disc.
Yeah, huge. And it's a cool movie. It's a really cool movie.
It's a damn good movie. And again, really great original art that they got for this new commission.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up is just a ridiculous set. So previously, Imprint had released the Avengers, the Emma Peel set, and now they're releasing the Avengers, the Tara King collection. This is coming on November 29th in Australia, and this is literally 11 discs with tons and tons of episodes on this. It's got a 120-page booklet in this, and so many features that I would have had to make like 6 posts on Instagram just to cover all of them. If you really are a diehard fan of the Avengers, go check out the Imprint site. There's so much on these discs. That first set was mind-blowing to go through from them. How about you? Have you checked out the Avengers before, the old TV show?
Never. I've only seen the movie, right, with, is that Alec Baldwin and I can't remember who. Completely forgettable the movie was.
Right.
But yeah, I've never watched the TV. I have a hard time watching TV because it feels like such a commitment to me. So
yeah.
That's why Family Guy is gathering dust on my.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing this one, but it is a lot to go through.
Yeah.
I won't say too much about this because we talked about it last Thursday, but I did want to say that all the links for Someone's Favorite Productions are now in the description below. So make sure you go follow on Instagram and Facebook. We're going to be posting film clips, stuff that we're working on, and doing our best to share as much as we can. Will and I are doing a whole lot. We're literally finishing up one thing right now and sending it in. I'm just stoked to go on to this next step with everything. And we're recording the first episode of Cinetrauma, Howard and I, here pretty soon as well.
Man, I'm so excited for you guys. It's going to be so cool.
When we first started talking about this podcast, and Howard was like, I can get this director to come on and talk about how, and I was like, wait a minute, you're telling me. I'm just baffled.
Well, last week's show, when you opened up and you took a minute just to be like, Howard S. Berger, this is crazy. I'm sitting there just watching, thinking, the hell, Ryan's talking. This is insane because we've listened to how many hours of his commentaries and read, that's insane. So it's very exciting.
And Howard is one busy bastard. I can tell you that.
He is, yeah.
To try to get one episode of something scheduled, I have to get on his calendar far, far in advance. So we will get this going very quickly, I promise. Next announcement came from Severin, and this is that they are putting out Count Dracula from 1970 on 4K. This is coming in mid-October if you order from their site. Wide release late November. This is the worldwide UHD premiere. And the big thing here is somebody went trawling around through the depths of some basement or something in like Budapest and literally just stumbled upon the original negatives for this. And Andrew Furtado was supposedly the first person to touch them in like 40 years. And I've seen some of the stills from the restoration already. It looks remarkable. This is going to be a massive step up from their previous release, and they're doing it justice. There's all kinds of stuff in here. We got a CD soundtrack coming with this, which we did not have last time. We've got audio commentary with David Del Val and Maria Rome. There's old archival interviews with Jess Franco, of course, Stephen Thrower on Count Dracula, pretty much everything you could possibly want. They are trying to throw in to make this an incredible package. This is wild.
Yeah, isn't it crazy what they're able to do? Like, this is going to be the greatest looking this film has ever been.
Yep.
And it's been hiding out in a dungeon in Budapest for, it's crazy. I don't know. It's mind boggling.
It really, really is. And it's wild that it can be something so coveted. And I guarantee you there were people around this for decades, just had no clue it was there.
Right.
No clue. They are also releasing, and they had announced this previously, but now we got details, Dr. Butcher MD / Zombie Holocaust. Same movie, different cuts, kind of. This is from 1980, and this is coming on 4K as well. Same time frame, mid-October if you order from their site, late November if you get it wide. Each of the features on this are going to have their own 4K disc, and then there's going to be a third Blu-ray disc that's going to have the feature of Dr. Butcher MD plus a whole bunch of special features. They've got tons of stuff on here. They've got interviews, they've got featurettes, they've got a fourth Blu-ray on this that's going to have Zombie Holocaust as a Blu-ray feature, and then special features. It's too much. They are putting so much into these packages. And the hard thing is, I know they're expensive, but if you look around, like Griff says in the comments here, if you get them from Diabolic, it'll save you some money. Watch elsewhere. We're going to talk about our UK friends. We'll have another option for Count Dracula tonight. It's kind of difficult. It is crazy with how expensive these are getting, but importing is making prices so much heavier for everybody, and I totally get it. So just try to watch out for as good a deal as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Michael is asking, do you think you might have Kat Ellinger on again? Love her commentaries and video essays. Not might, but absolutely. Speaking of busy people, Kat has had a hell of a year. She is somebody that is hard to get to nail down for a little while, but I will work on that soon. I promise. Not to tease too much. I have two that I'm working on. One that I'm actually recording next week that I have been already like super nervous and intimidated by, and it's still more than a week away. So there's an exciting one coming up on the channel.
Cool. I've tried to get Kat on Cult Movies. We had a couple times had something set on the calendar, and then something comes up, she gets a gig, and it's like this, which is great. Like, she's one of the best. So obviously I'm like, yes, please go. We'll work something out eventually, but yeah, she's so good at what she does.
Oh yeah. Next up from Severin is this one's kind of interesting for some people because on the original release of Count Dracula, I believe one or both of these were also in that Blu-ray, and I never got it, so I apologize offhand that I don't have the answer for that. But now they're releasing it on its own. So if you buy the 4K of Count Dracula, you can also buy this Quadecu Vampire and Umbracal, which is from 71 and 72. And this is going to have a 2-disc, I believe, or no, just 1 disc. It's got the feature and special features on here. We've got Jess Franco in the School of Barcelona, interview with Spanish film scholar Dr. Alex Mendable, and then a booklet, which Severin doesn't do a lot of booklets. So that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, what's interesting? Fred Williams being in these movies, in the Jess Franco Dracula. So That's and I when this popped up, when you post this, these are two movies that were completely off my radar. So
Same.
very, very cool.
Severin has been good for that lately, actually.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in classic Severin style, they have all kinds of crazy bundles that you can get. You can get this one, which will have the movies and this brand new Dr. Butcher t-shirt that they're selling. You can get the Medical Deviant bundle, which will have the Dr. Butcher t-shirt and the Dr. Butcher and Zombie Holocaust release. And then you can get just the Count Dracula and the other Christopher Lee film that they're putting out. Or you can get all of the discs by themselves. And then, of course, you can get the t-shirt alone if you didn't have
so
it.
Good.
And it's a pretty damn good design, actually.
Yes, I love that. Are they? I didn't notice. Are they doing a barf bag on this release of the Dr. Butcher? Are they doing it again?
They are, yeah. And you know what's funny is they made sure, I believe it's in here, at the very, very bottom, includes Dr. Butcher MD barf bag. They made sure to highlight it, so it is absolutely still a thing.
I know that, like, that was because when did they really? Man, it seemed like 5-6 years ago.
It's been, I think, more than that now.
Even longer. Okay, like that was such a huge thing. Like everybody going nuts, and so I had tracked down a copy and watched the movie. The movie's fine. I need to go back and rewatch because I feel like I'm a little more versed in trash, but I was like, God, this is the marketing. The original marketing for this is phenomenal. Back in the 70s when they were doing the barf bags at the theater. Dr.
Butcher was just over 7 years ago now that Severin released it.
Man,
it was 2016.
Golly.
Ragdoll is asking, did Pallbearer Press make those shirts? I believe they did. I don't know that 100% offhand, but I believe they did. And I only know that because I pay attention just like you. I think Pallbearer Press makes some of the highest quality shirts out there. They are incredibly good at what they do. Ronnie's asking, any plans to have someone from Altered Innocence on in the future? I wish I could say plans. I've been trying to get Frank from Altered Innocence on for a little more than a year. And I can tell you now, if they are an OCN partner label, I want to have them on the show. I'm trying to catch them all. They are my Pokemon. And the sad thing is they keep evolving. So it's difficult.
They do. Well, when you had Deaf Crocodile, the guy from Deaf Crocodile, that was another one. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like these people are so incredibly busy now, which is great to be able to hear from them all. So
yeah, it's very interesting to hear each of their stories are so different yet so similar.
Yeah.
And so those deviations make them very interesting.
Absolutely.
All right. A pressed made-on-demand Blu-ray is coming from Sony on October 24th for Rock Around the Clock from 1956. And the crazy thing is that Sony commissioned a new commentary for this with Barry Forshaw and Kim Newman.
Wow.
That is mind-blowing to me that they went through the effort to get that. That's awesome.
I feel like this was something I would have seen when I was a kid because my mom and dad were into these, huge Bill Haley in the Comments fan. So,
right.
But it's a hard sell for me. Although a Kim Newman, so I can't remember who said a Kim Newman commentary. I mean, that's a sell right there.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Next up is Passion on October 17th, coming from Film Movement. And the big thing is this is Ryusuke Hamaguchi's first film. This is the guy that did Drive My Car last year or the year before. Yeah, so we've got an intro on this disc from the director and then a video essay by film and theater writer Kenji Fujishima. And I've never seen this, but it's supposed to be pretty damn good. I'm hoping to pick this one up.
Yeah.
And this one's had a little bit of an odd release because at first it was advertised from Film Movement as coming like 2 days ago. And then it never dropped. And then they suddenly said, oh, no, we're just kidding. It's coming in October.
Heavy drama. I'm sold on that one. Absolutely sold on that.
Yeah, especially coming from him. I imagine if it's anything like Drive My Car, it's going to be pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Next one we talked about fairly recently. Jules is coming on October 10th from Decal Releasing. This is a brand new 2023 film with Ben Kingsley and Jane Curtin. And everybody that's seen it, which is not many people, have said that it's great. Have you been able to see this one yet?
I've never even heard of it until you posted it, whenever that was, last week. Yeah, never even heard of it.
Lovely looking, unique movie. But yeah, can't wait to see this one.
Yeah.
And I miss Jane Curtin.
Oh my God. She with her time, you know, she was a little before my time on SNL, but of course the reruns, and then Third Rock from the Sun and Kate and Allie. Like, she was such a huge part of my childhood and like one of my early crushes, just because she seemed, I don't know, like, you know, the cool lady, right? So I too love Jane Curtin.
She was always the one that was hilarious, but also normal enough to not be over the top.
Exactly. Yes. Right.
All right, we got from Film Movement on October 17th. They are releasing My Father's Glory, My Mother's Castle from 1990. This is restored and released as a double feature on Blu-ray for the first time in North America. I believe this was released in France previously on Blu-ray, and it's going to be the exact same disc, and a lot of people had picked that one up, so it doesn't look like there's going to be a reason to pick this one up if you had that first release. But this is supposed to be a really well-made film. I've never seen this. I'm really actually fairly light on French cinema. I need to dive in quite more.
Yeah, I've only recently last year kind of dug into French New Wave, but other than that, pretty light. You know, well, I guess he's kind of expanded all over the world, but look to Fran to help out with your French cinema, because he's you know, I always kind of turn to him for recommendations.
He is all over that for sure. Yeah. Then December 5th, Kino Lorber is releasing Odds Against Tomorrow from 1959. This is yet another one that's supposed to be amazing, and I've also sort of turned a blind eye to a lot of stuff from the 50s that I shouldn't have. This is another one directed by Robert Wise, who also did The Day the Earth Stood Still and The Haunting. And I will see this very soon. This is one I'm dying to see.
Incredible movie. It's you know, written by Polanski, who, you know, was on the blacklist for a number of years. I mean, this is such a, which isn't surprising from Polanski, because he was always so ahead of his time with his writing. But you know, the sort of tumultuous relationship between Robert Ryan and Harry Belafonte in this movie is, Polanski like had his thumb on the times, and it just like throws it out and says, this is what America is right now. It's insane. Yeah. Great movie. Incredible.
Yeah, and this, just like KB just said in the chat, this is one that Olive had put out previously. And I think we're seeing Kino probably got quite a few of the Olive films that they had released. So don't be surprised if we get quite a few announcements of those. And obviously one of the big ones that we're going to be talking about tonight is one of the most exciting announcements of the week. We're going to be talking about Monster Squad.
Yeah.
Next up, The Last Tycoon with Robert De Niro from 1976 is coming from Kino on November 28th. This has a new audio commentary by film historian Joseph McBride, author of Filmmakers on Filmmaking. And I definitely want to check out that commentary for sure. And the crazy thing, they were able to get the original art, secondary art, and then a third commissioned art on the slipcover. Sometimes they don't get anything, but they went all in on this one.
That is very unlike Kino. Good for them.
This one is color in black and white and a little over 2 hours long and supposed to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but of course it's been on my list for years.
As is for most of us. Kino also announced that they are putting out Silent Scream on 4K. This is the 1979 film. No date on this one yet, so knowing Kino, it'll probably be next March or April or something at the very earliest. But that's cool. I'm glad they're doing that. This is a pretty damn good movie.
Is it? I've never seen it before.
It's worth a watch for sure. And honestly, it's kind of surprising that they're putting this on 4K, but it'll probably sell. It's decent. It's got Cameron Mitchell, who did great, plus Barbara Steele. I mean, it's a hell of a cast.
Yvonne DiCarlo, love You know, look here. Okay, so here's the deal. I haven't upgraded to 4K yet because it's
Oh,
hard to sell my wife on, hey, we need a new player. It's $250.
right.
But good news, everybody. Good news for us people. The secondary Blu-ray player is on the fritz. So
Oh
fingers
no,
crossed.
that's awful.
I know. That's what, when I told my wife, she's like, really? And I was like, I swear to God, it's not, it works sometimes. Because it took a while to convince her for me to get an all region. So, but we got there. So I have hopes for 4K because I mean, being a collector, I have a few 4Ks that
Quite a few, I'm sure.
but I can't watch them. I can't watch them yet. So, here's hoping, folks. In the next week, the old Blu-ray player dies.
And Daniel Sibner is asking, wasn't that originally a Code Red or Scorpion release? I do believe it was a Scorpion release. Let me verify right quick in another window. Yep, Scorpion came out in 2017. That's a good one. Kino can release Bound and make me happy. That Bound would look great in 4K.
Yeah.
And moving right along, The Conformist is coming from Raro on November 28th. And man, did some people get riled up about this one.
How many times have they released this?
I think this is only twice from them, but other people have released this many times as well. The big thing is they are touting a new 4K restoration from the OCN, which, if it looks good, great. Like, this is a very influential, very important film. But I'm also hearing the restoration on this is kind of terrible. No. I would wait for some reviews on this one. This is a great movie. If you've never seen it, it's probably still worth picking up. But you may want to wait and see some reviews before you dive into this one, because the old one you'll probably be able to get for much cheaper.
And Railroad is always having sales too.
Yeah. Again, reminder for them though: do not buy from their site. Only buy from Kino.
Really? Okay. Good.
Yeah. I've got people that just when I posted this, they are, especially on Facebook, in the comments saying that they ordered stuff in 2020 and they still don't have them. So you might be able to buy it for $10. That doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if you want Raro titles, go through either Kino or Radiance.
And they're exactly right, Radiance too. And a lot of times Kino includes them in the sales. Yep. So $10. And
and we're going to talk about a Kino sale. There's quite a few in this one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, definitely a good time to check out for those. October 17th, Mill Creek is releasing Ultra 7, the 55th anniversary anthology. I've only seen a little bit of Ultraman. I don't know a whole lot about all of the other lore around it, so I apologize. This does include an episode guide. Are you into the Ultraman kaiju world at all?
No, I'm not. I'm not like Aaron seems like he is.
Yeah, he's all about it.
Ultraman. I did review Shin Ultraman. I got from MVD.
Yeah.
So that was my first Ultraman. It's fine. But I'm not a superhero guy, and it's a little too much. It's like superhero meets kaiju.
Yeah.
I'm all about the kaiju because, of course, the graphics, the visual animation in Japan is top notch. But then when you have like a flying fighting guy, I'm like, I just want the monsters.
Yeah, I get that. And the kaiju stuff is great, but again, with Ultraman and the offshoots that they have, there's a whole world to dive into.
Oh yeah.
Next up is Valmont, coming from Kino Lorber on November 28th. This is the 1989 film from Milos Forman, and this has a new audio commentary with friend of the channel, Daniel Kramer, who did the entire thing by himself, and that had to have been a lot of work, because this is This is a movie with like a capital M movie. So I imagine he worked on that like crazy.
I mean, any Milos Forman film, it's like the amount of research that you would
Right.
have to do to do, especially by yourself, right? So
Yeah,
good on Mr. Kramer there.
exactly. Next up, another Raro title. November 7th, they are releasing The Perfume of the Lady in Black. And guess what? I believe they also released this one previously. I need to verify because I totally forgot to check, but I believe they had perfume. It needs to be spelled right as I'm looking. Yes, so they released this in 2016. It's the exact same cover. So I kind of doubt that there's anything different about this disc at all.
Yeah. Why release it again?
It doesn't have it listed as a new scan, so I'm very curious. There was rumors that this was supposed to have a new 4K restoration. I can't find any information on that. But if you've never seen it, this is actually a really great movie. This is one of like the more important from that time. It's from '74. It's got Mimsy Farmer, who's great. Yeah, this is a really interesting one.
Yeah, I dig Mimsy Farmer a lot. I watched Autopsy for the first time
Ooh.
earlier this year, and she's fucking great in that movie.
Yeah. Next one is to change the mood quite a bit. Hallmark is releasing 4 of their Christmas films on Blu-ray on October 24th. And I know this is odd for the channel, but I try to announce pretty much everything. But on top of that, Hallmark doesn't usually announce Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Usually it's just DVDs or nothing. And they're 4 movies all from the same year, all from 2022. You got A Maple Valley Christmas, A Magical Christmas Village, The Gift of Peace, and Haul Out the Holly. And I gotta say, I love some cheesy Christmas films sometimes.
Me too. I'm down with Hallmark movies. It's not like July rolls around like I could go for a Hallmark movie. It
Right.
has to be around the holidays. But I have I don't know where it would be. I have a 4-disc Hallmark set, like a DVD of really, really cheesy movies, but I watch it every year still. I'm down with these. And it is cool. Like when this popped up, I was like, what? Hallmark getting into the Blu-ray game. Good for them.
Yeah. I imagine if these sell well, and in what world are they not going to sell pretty well?
Right.
They could dive into a vault of insanity and they could put out 40 films a month for like 3 years and still only be a couple feet into the door. And then that's just the Christmas vault.
Right.
And that's not even getting into like the Lifetime style movies.
Right,
There's so much that they could release. I kind of hope that they start digging into some of the more popular ones because they've made some really good movies.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you, Ryan.
Good. Then we got some Criterion announcements. First up, December 5th, Blast of Silence from 1961. I felt awful this week as everybody was like, oh, finally, we get this on Blu-ray. And I'm like, oh, what is this? I've never seen it. This is one I've heard about quite a few times. I've just not been able to get around to. Have you seen this one?
I haven't. Of course, I've known about it forever, but anytime, and I'm not like a Criterion purist, but anytime Criterion announces something, it really piques interest.
Right. I would agree there. This one is going to have a new 4K digital restoration presented in 2 different aspect ratios, widescreen and full screen, in case you prefer one or the other, which options for the consumer. Imagine that. What a great idea. This is going to have a making of, a rare on set of Polaroids, some photos of locations from the film from 2008, the trailer, and then an essay by film critic Terrence Rafferty and a graphic novel adaptation of the film by acclaimed artist Sean Phillips. This sounds like an okay release. Not it's not overwhelming with special features, but it looks pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm into
it. Hallmark 1,000 movie set. That's amazing. Terry says, yeah, if the Hallmark Hall of Fame TV movies would be up for grabs, there should be some diamonds in the rough, even if only for fans of TV movies, which we desperately need more TV movies on Blu-ray.
And you know what? What if, so let's just pretend Hallmark kind of gets into the game and they start putting out, say, 4 movies a month. And then who knows, maybe that could spark interest in other companies digging into their vaults and saying, hey, we're going to put out, the Hillside Strangler, or,
Yep.
whatever, start. So it could be a good thing.
Yep. And it's nice that this is coming out right in time for Christmas. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
Next up is the big one that everybody was super ecstatic for. December 12th, 4K Blu-ray, Pinocchio from last year. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. And man, did they not skimp. First off, should not just glide right past the fact that this was a Netflix exclusive. That's a pretty big deal. We don't have a lot of those, but it's nice for us to get something that we didn't have, any announcement or any clue that it was coming. They just out of nowhere announced Pinocchio, which it's Guillermo del Toro. It's not super surprising, but it's nice that we're getting more for sure.
Yep.
Love the cover art on this.
Yeah.
Super unique, very whimsical. But then the package itself. So we got a 4K digital master on this. There's one 4K disc of the film presented with Dolby Vision and one Blu-ray with the film and special features. We have a new documentary featuring Del Toro, Gustafson, and cast and crew, including the film's puppet creators, production designers, whole bunch more. Amazing. New conversation between Del Toro and film critic Ferran Smith Name. New interview with curator Ron Magliazzi on the Museum of Modern Art's 2022 exhibition that was devoted to the film.
Interesting.
New program on the 8 rules of animation that informed the production. A panel discussion with Del Toro, Gustafson, the production designer, Guy Davis, the composer, sound designer, all moderated by James Cameron.
Who's that guy?
I've never heard of him, especially in the Criterion Collection. And then we got essays by film critic Matt Zoller Seitz and author Cornelia Funk. This is a great looking package. I definitely want this one.
So this was a Netflix movie, or is a net? Okay, have you seen it?
I have, and it's very good, and it's stop motion.
Oh, okay, interesting. We haven't had Netflix for a long time, so I had no idea there was even a Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio movie. So this was a huge surprise to me. I thought, oh my God, this is, I mean, who more perfect to kind of delve into fairy tales, right?
Right. Yeah, this is one, if you like the other Del Toro stuff, you'll love this. It is well made.
Who is complaining about this cover art? Are you kidding me?
Many people are.
Get out. That is it's incredible. I would love a one sheet and hang it above my bed, and my wife would leave me. But I'd have the one sheet of this. Come on, it's great.
Well, maybe you'll get it, when you wish upon a star or something. Next up is the other really exciting announcement from Criterion, and yet another one that I'd not even ever heard of, because I think this was just slightly before my time. The Red Balloon and Other Stories, 5 films by Albert Lamouris, I'm assuming is how you say it. This is coming on December 12th, and The Red Balloon, I guess from what I'm getting from all of the comments, a lot of people saw this in school. Never me. Is this something that you were familiar with?
Never. When they teased it the day before, I look in the comments, everybody's like, "Oh, the Red Balloon," and I had to go. I never heard of it. I had to go look it up. Never. Yeah.
Yeah. So many people are shocked that I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
No.
Never heard of it. Never seen it. Nothing. I'm sorry. But yeah, we got 5 films coming in this. We got a little bit of special features, but it's kind of a box set. So on those, there's usually not a ton of stuff. Sure. Look at that. Dead Sea Life says, I saw it in school. Reggie says, I remember watching The Red Balloon in CCD class.
Really? Like Catholic stuff?
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Huh.
Sibner had the storybook when he was growing up. Brendan Timmons saw it in school. The director made the board game Risk?
What?
That is wild.
Maybe it's a Midwest thing, Ryan. They weren't allowed to show it in the Midwest.
I'm from Southern California originally.
Oh shit!
I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah,
although I grew up in a poor town, not in LA, so that could be.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was sick that day. Who knows? Never heard of this thing.
That's hilarious. And yeah, John says it's an upgrade from a Criterion DVD. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good thing.
Cool.
Very good thing. Hey, I put up the newest edition of the Physical Media Advocate, the zine I do for the Patreon every month. I'm not going to harp on this too much, but I do want to really harp on this art is fucking amazing. And I
Yeah.
know it's for my zine, so I shouldn't really say it like this, but Planet Mondo, who designs my art every month, this is incredible. I'm stoked on this. I would really love if people check this out because, oh my gosh, the detail in this is astounding.
I mean, talk about having a one sheet hanging above your bed. I'll take one
Right?
of these. Yeah.
Yes, please. Planet Mondo is working on a website soon, and I'm hoping this is one that he takes my watermark out of it and releases this because it is incredible. You can get this on Amazon. You can get it through the Patreon. The link is in the description below. Either way, come check it out. Eric is here, says, just checking in for a minute, was at a school board meeting where my kid was honored for being a National Merit semifinalist. Before the recognition, the public comments portion was a hate-filled half hour of transphobic garbage due to a federally mandated policy being enforced. So much ignorance and fear. Depressing. And Eric's child is trans. That's
It's terrible.
yikes. I'm sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of shit going on lately. And Eric, gosh, if I remember right, and I'm very tired, so I should know this. I'm sorry, Eric. I believe Eric's from just outside of Chicago. Friend of the channel, who I just talked about on the Directors Club podcast, Jim works at a library in Chicago, and there's been all kinds of bomb threats going around at the libraries. Like, what is going on? It is so stupid out there.
Yep.
Anyways, Warner Archive came out for some incredible announcements this month. He says underwhelmingly. But the big thing is they're releasing a lot this month. A lot of people have thought that they've been kind of quiet, and then they came out this month with it's like 6 or 7 titles.
Yeah.
First, these are all coming on Halloween, except for the last, I believe, 2 announcements that we're going to talk about. This first one, Dance Fool's Dance from 1931, Joan Crawford. Not really my bag. Is this something that you're into?
You know what? Let's see. Last season of cult movies, we watched Dance Girl Dance, which is a Dorothy Arzner movie. And we talked about 42nd Street. So I kind of dove into this era and these types of movies, and kind of fell in love with them. So this, when they announced this a few days ago, I was kind of intrigued because it's Joan Crawford's filmography is insanely extensive,
right?
And so I've there's so many that I haven't heard of, and so they announced this, and I'm a fan of Warner Archive. I'm not one who has to have a bunch of features, and so I don't mind bare bones. I'm just happy to have the movie. So this was one I was pretty excited about. I'm down for a blind buy of this.
Interesting. Very interesting. Next one up is 1967's Double Trouble, another Elvis film. I'll check it out as a curio eventually. This one actually does have some cartoons on it. I love that they always do that.
I'll take the cartoons. Sorry, but I can't stand Elvis movies.
I'm not a big fan of them either.
My mom was obsessed with Elvis growing up, and so I'm totally burned out on his music. But then a few years ago, we watched an Elvis movie for Patrick's birthday. It was like a Twitter thing, and I was like, "Oh God, can this please end?" Sorry, I can't stand the man. Not to shit on the dead, but
I totally get it. Totally get it. Next one is In Love and War from 1996. They jumped up there in the years. This is with Sandy Bullock and Chris O'Donnell. This one is going to have the original trailer, and that's it.
Good, great.
But it's from a 4K scan of the OCN, which is pretty cool.
I'm down with some Sandy.
Sandy's great, like really, really good.
Yeah, she is. I agree. I've never even heard of that movie.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah. So when they announced this, I was like, what the hell? In 96, Sandy Bullock is huge. Chris O'Donnell is huge, right?
Yeah.
Never heard of the movie.
Never once.
Crazy.
Next up is Mad City. This is one I've heard of. Dustin Hoffman, John Travolta. I believe I saw this years ago. It is mostly empty from my mind now, but it'll be nice to revisit it now.
Yeah, I dug it. I saw it the one time when it came out in the 90s, and but you know, I'm a Travolta sucker. I mean, Dustin Hoffman. I love Dustin Hoffman too, but Travolta takes more chances, I feel like, than Dustin Hoffman, and this is a really cool performance from him.
Nice. What's going on, Key Ray? Sibner says, I remember the trailer. They used the Legends of the Fall music. And then Brian says, you haven't heard of it because the movie is bad. That's why. Next is one that, man, I had no clue about this. So this is from 1994. I'm going to take a guess on how to say this. Rapa Nui, I'm assuming. Have not seen this. This is co-produced by Kevin Costner and directed by Kevin Reynolds, who did one of the best Robin Hood adaptations of all time, my favorite. This is coming with a 1080p HD master from the Preservation Elements and includes the original trailer again. This one says, an island paradise becomes a scarred paradise, lost in the spectacular South Seas adventure. And this, I mean, it sounds pretty good. Played, let's see, Jason Scott Lee and S.I. Morales play boyhood friends turned fierce rivals in this tumultuous tale of love and war. Each loves the same woman, and each intends to win her in marriage by competing for the island leadership in a genuine tribal contest. Very intriguing.
I'm into it, and I love, Esai Morales was Richie Valens' brother in La Bamba, right? And then he was, I grew up huge NYPD Blue fans. And so Esai Morales took over as the lieutenant of the precinct on that show. And so I'm a big Esai Morales fan. But this was another one never heard of, but also intrigued.
Definitely one I'm intrigued by.
Yeah.
Really, I love the stuff that is fairly, I guess earnest is a good word for something like this, where they go to Easter Island and film it. Something like, even like Apocalypto. I really loved Apocalypto.
Sure. Oh, me too. I do. And I'm sure it's nothing like it, but I couldn't help but think of the Black Robe when this was announced. So I don't know if, like I said, they're probably nothing alike, but right. I was, intrigued and then pleased by the Black Robe. So I have high hopes for Rapa Nui.
The next two, these are the ones that are right up my alley, though. First one, we've got The Devil Doll from 1936. This is a Todd Browning film. Todd Browning getting a ton of love this year.
Yes.
Amazing. So glad we're doing this. And this one has a new commentary by film historian Dr. Steve Haberman and filmmaker and film historian Konstantin Nazer. We got some cartoons on this as well. They went all in. And what's crazy, this is the only horror title coming out in October, and it's releasing on Halloween.
Which is, okay, so I was joking with my editor, Patrick Bromley, about Arrow's October titles are also not horror. And I understand, logistics, timing, and all this, You have what you have. But, come on. Devil Doll, though, really cool movie. I dig it.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like a couple companies, primarily the two that we're talking about right now with Arrow and this, I feel like they had some delays, and they probably had some solid slates, but hopefully that means in the next couple months there's some banger horror titles coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Although Arrow's kind of been killing it the last few months for me anyways.
Listen, Witness, I'm super excited about that package. Yep. So I'm not complaining.
Witness, Barbarella, the Psycho collection, the Hellraiser collection.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then they also announced that November 28th, not October, November 28th, they're going all in on Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 2. And then they're not even waiting for this to sell well or not. They also announced that a Volume 3 will be coming very soon. Very exciting. I'm glad they're doing this. I'm glad that enough people bought in on Volume 1 for them to say, oh, this will actually do well.
Yeah, and like the thing with Max is that they took away so many episodes of Looney Tunes. So at least we'll be able to have them in our collection, and because who knows when or if we'll ever be able to stream them, right?
This is very, very true.
Yeah, which is, that's what this is all about, of course.
That's it. And then a really odd choice. December 5th, Paramount is releasing Office Christmas Party on 4K. That classic 2016 film that you can't create a cover art for without TJ Miller being front and center.
Front and center, for God's sakes. Do we have our heads that far up our asses? Good God.
Somebody, I think it was on Facebook again, they highlighted and pulled out just the TJ Miller from it and said, the face you make when you get caught calling in a bomb threat.
Good God in heaven, how blind are we?
So I've never seen this. The cast sounds great, but I've never heard a single good thing about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was just at Office Christmas Party. I feel like I had heard good things. A lot of the people I follow on Letterboxd, 3.5, 4 stars.
Yeah.
So
could be decent then.
I don't know if I need a 4K with TJ Miller's face front and center, for God's sakes. That'll be the first. That'll be the first new 4K I buy when I get the player. Be like, I gotta get that Office Party 4K.
Gotta get the bundle, the Paramount 4K bundle with Office Christmas Party.
Oh God.
Sibner says Office Christmas Party is Project X, but with 40-year-olds.
Okay, into it. I'm sorry, that sells me hard. Into it.
Zombie says, liked it. It's a decent holiday comedy with a great cast besides TJ Miller. You know what's sad? I used to like TJ Miller quite a bit.
Me too, a lot. And we watched, I showed my kids Cloverfield for the first time earlier this year. And I was like, oh God, it's hard to get past because he talks a lot in the
he is super annoying in that one. But I will say, I really did like him in Underwater. I feel like he really did great in Underwater.
Oh, see, I haven't seen Underwater yet. So
he is not in it that much. So it is a much more intriguing performance,
sure.
I guess. JJ says, my girlfriend loves this movie. I pray she doesn't see this 4K.
Stocking stuffer. I smell stocking stuffer.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
I mean, I love everybody else in that movie, though.
Right. Like Kate McKinnon is a freaking comedic god right now.
Yeah, exactly.
October 23rd, Second Run is releasing Pearls of the Deep on Blu-ray. This is from 1965. A manifesto for a new generation of young filmmakers. Pearls of the Deep is one of the delights of the Czechoslovak New Wave, based on stories by, I apologize in advance, Bohumil Hrabal. The film is a compendium of 5 films, each demonstrating the differing styles of 5 emerging filmmakers. Each of these are vignettes that display unique approaches to the multifaceted tales of ordinary people and odd obsessions. I will say, if you've never bought Second Run, I kind of say this every time that they come up, they're ridiculously great. Yes. They put a lot of love in each of their releases. I think every single one has been region free. Yep. You can't go wrong diving in.
That I joke about blind buys all the time. I've never regretted a blind buy from Second Run, and they're always included in the Arrow sales, right? Yep. And so that's usually, you get them for like $5, $6, $7.
Yep.
Come on, it's hard to pass up on that. And I'm a huge fan of the Czech New Wave.
They do great stuff.
Really interesting movies. So this is really cool. I like this.
Media membrane. Is she drinking Bailey's from a shoe? It kind of seems like it. Yeah. All right. Let's go into. Are you a Doctor Who fan? Because they are releasing the complete new Who collector's gift set on November 14th with 13 seasons, all included, newly upscaled seasons 1 through 4, exclusive bonus content with Russell Davies and David Tennant, 5-figure Titan set that's exclusive to this, certificate of authenticity, and then 144 hours of content altogether. Are you a Doctor Who guy?
I've never watched a minute of Doctor Who, even though everybody I know says, oh, you got to watch Doctor Who. You would love it. And I look and I'm like, where in God's name does one start
Right.
with Doctor Who? It's like the Avengers,
It's actually a little worse, I would say.
Well,
Doctor Who is crazy.
Yes, yeah, like spanning generations, so many different doctors. I'm like, it's too much for me. I'm sorry.
I have seen a minute of Doctor Who, but I think that was enough for me. I'm not into it. I know that I'm not into it.
You're like the first person that says, it's no thanks.
It's just not my thing. I really enjoy a couple of the actors from it. I think Peter Capaldi is great. I think David Tennant is great in every single thing he does.
Yep.
Christopher Eccleston is a master.
Yep.
No, just not my thing.
I mean, I don't even know what Doctor Who is like. Is it a time travel thing?
Yes. All I know, and this will make people happy that I know the reference, there's a lot of timey-wimey stuff. That's something they say, I think. And I know that there's a TARDIS, and it's a blue telephone booth, and it stands for something.
Cool. I mean, I've got my Quantum Leap.
Nice.
Which is still in the I got this in a contest like 6 years ago.
Oh, sweet.
But it's one of those, I'm like, I would love to get into Quantum Leap, but I look and it's like, however many episodes. So like that compared to Doctor Who is nothing. This is like a tiny blip compared to what Doctor Who is.
I just got the comment that just talked me out of ever watching it. So you're welcome. And Paul says they do indeed say timey-wimey.
What the hell is timey-wimey, Paul?
Very British. Very, very British. Wow. So the first episode of Doctor Who was on November 23rd of 1963, the day after the Kennedy assassination.
Dang.
Jeez. All right, let's go to the next one, which is a film that I love. Blue Steel, coming from Vestron on November 14th. This is number 31 in the Vestron line. And the best thing possible, they got all of the special features from the imprint box set, and they are great features. I really hope that people check this out that have never seen it, because first off, it's the one and only Jamie Lee Curtis just being amazing. Ron Silver in this is wild, and it's Catherine Bigelow like at the top of her game, where it's a smaller film. It's not some crazy Zero Dark 30 let's go wild for the Oscars or anything, but this and Near Dark were like the prime Catherine Bigelow for me.
This is so I'm an 80s cop movie obsessive.
Nice.
And so this is 90. It feels like, it's an 80s holdover type of thing. So it has that 80s feel. And I'm a huge Ron Silver fan, and he seemed kind of like Jane Curtin was sort of like, a comforting presence. Ron Silver was always a comforting presence in whatever he was in. When I was a kid, he'd show up on screen, no idea who this guy was, but he was just, it was just like, I feel comforted by this guy, even though he is so unhinged in Blue Steel. Incredible performance, and Jamie Lee is like pitch perfect here. Love this movie. Because I'm not up on into like the Blu-ray game as much as you all, but I was surprised that this was a Vestron title. Should I be?
Yeah, I was honestly surprised too. This seemed like it should. I would have expected just a regular Lionsgate title.
Right. Yes. So,
I'm
but
happy,
this is exciting. Yeah, good package. I'm glad we're getting this stuff from Imprint, because I still have yet to dive into Imprint because it's usually a little out of my price range. So I'm down with a Vestron title though.
Completely understandable. Imprint is very expensive.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, I'm sure we're not going to spend a ton of time talking about this, but I do want to say,
Ryan.
Well, I want to dive into one thing. First off, some context. November 14th, Best Buy is putting out a exclusive 4K Steelbook collection of the Twilight Saga. I want people to go back and recognize that about a month ago when I announced the other Twilight gift set, I said, hold on, there's a 4K collection coming. Here's the confirmation. I don't lie to you. Here it is. Twilight Saga 4K. If you really want it. Are you a Twihard, Anthony?
You know what? I've only seen the first one and it was as bad as I thought it would be. So I have no need to watch the rest of them, let alone buy a 4K set from Best Buy.
I from what I hear, is there 4 movies or 5? I don't even remember how many are in this, but
I think there's 5 because the last one is split into 2.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So from what I hear, the last 2 are really good in like a camp sort of way.
Okay.
So not like a well-made movie, but like a holy hell, what is happening? I don't even want to venture in to find that out though.
Well, I mean, I do. I love the Pacific Northwest setting.
Same.
Right? Like because it's so, wet and rainy in that first film. I was like, I'm into this, but the performances are, and I love Robert Pattinson now. I love
Same.
Kristen Stewart now.
Same.
But man, it's not good, man. I do love I love the atmosphere it sets.
Right. And I love both the actors so much. I wouldn't mind seeing them just for that curio of how did they get started. I don't know. I've got too many other things to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
The big one, Monster Squad, coming on 4K from Kino. And the big story here is this ports over freaking everything. They can get everything on this disc. And not only that, this is a 3-disc set. We have a 4K disc, we have a Blu-ray disc, and then Wolfman's Got Nards is finally getting a pressed Blu-ray in the States. Yes.
Oh.
So this is getting everything that we could possibly want. Everything. This is a killer set.
Man, yeah, I mean, this is, if you're our age, you grew up watching this, you love this movie, it still holds up. I showed it to my boys last year. It's still great. So I can't remember if it was you or I bet it was John Squires. It seems like something John would do. He pointed out the difference between the original one sheet and the new cover art. They add the little
female
girl. Yeah, which is awesome. Which is
great. That's a big deal.
She's such a huge part of the movie.
Well, and she was omitted for no reason whatsoever.
Right. Yeah,
there was no reason not to. The 4K scan on this is supposed to be incredible. I'm glad that this is coming out. I have the Wicked Vision media book, and I'm stoked to double up on this because it is far, far worth it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's God, it's just such a important movie, definite gateway horror for so many of us. And you got kids. It's such a great time being able to show your kids this movie.
I completely agree, and it'll look better than it's ever looked.
Yep.
Speaking of surprising things from earlier, a streaming only show that was on Apple TV or Apple Plus, whatever it's called. November 14th, For All Mankind Season 1 is coming out from Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. What's odd though is it's only Season 1. Season 1 is from 2019. I'm almost surprised that they didn't just do, I think it's the first 3 seasons. They could have done them all at once.
Yeah.
So hopefully this sells well. But I believe this is the first Apple Plus show to come out on physical media, if I remember right.
Which is insane. Like, have they released some of their movies on Blu-ray?
Well, not the one that won the frickin' Oscar.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm kind of shocked we have this before Coda.
Yeah, this is insane. Or like, I would imagine, oh gosh, what's the Seth Rogen Jewish one? American Pickle?
Oh, yes, that sounds right.
It's just shocking to me that this is this is where they're going, right? And not with the movies, but
I'm surprised,
see.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like you said, hopefully it does sell well, so it inspires them to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, I imagine that Ted Lasso, for example, would sell.
Oh
like
God, Ted Lasso. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The Velvet Underground doc is on Criterion. That was one of the Apple Plus.
Oh, that was
was
Apple.
that Apple Plus? I don't think that was Apple Plus. Not in the States. I don't remember what it's called. I could look it up.
Is that the? Oh, okay. Let's see.
I don't remember the name of it. Anyways, oh wait, Sibner says that was HBO. I'm not sure if he's talking about the Velvet Underground one. Oh yes, it was.
Huh.
Okay. Interesting.
Is this the Todd Haynes one?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, Severance is another one that would do very well also.
Oh yeah. So okay, that's Apple
Plus.
Apple Plus. Okay. Another streamer I don't have.
Me
Here we go.
neither. November
Now we're in my
27th
lane.
in the UK. We had announced this for the US a couple weeks ago, but the UK is getting the 4K steelbook of The Naked Gun as well. You can pre-order that already. Love this movie.
Oh God, it's another one that holds up. His comedy will forever hold up. You know, as silly as it is, you can't not laugh at the writing in this movie and Leslie Nielsen's deliveries.
I agree.
Yep.
This one's odd. October 31st, Lionsgate is releasing Retribution from this year as a DVD and Blu-ray set, and it's coming in a DVD case.
What?
Thanks, Lionsgate. And if you're not excited about that, they're also doing it for Desperation Road, starring Mel Gibson. DVD and Blu-ray and digital coming in a DVD case.
Why?
I could not tell you.
The one. Okay, can you go back to the
Of course, yeah.
one? So look how sort of de-aged Liam looks here.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the stills, and this is a movie I haven't seen, but like the thumbnail they use for the trailers that they had for the ads on like Twitter and stuff.
Yep.
He looks like he's 97 years old. And here they're like, oh, that will not do, Liam Neeson. We're gonna have to clean you up a little bit here.
I love that Paul points out racist ass Mel Gibson and Liam Neeson, another one that's getting a DVD case. Oh man. And then Ryan says must buys.
You know what we need? Can we just get a TJ Miller Mel Gibson sleeve for
a 4K disc, but only in a CD case, please? And it has to be like a steelbook CD case or something. All right, this one is really cool, so I'm going to spend a moment here. A friend of mine is opening a retail site in North America tomorrow. Grand opening is tomorrow. And what they are called is Brother Belial, and this is amazing. What they're trying to focus on are the passion that they have for German media books. And it's really hard to get some of these in the States. So they are working primarily with German manufacturers to get stuff sent over here. And they're not only going to be housing those, but they're also going to be doing TerrorVision, Raven Banner, Mondo Macabro, and some others that they can get their hands on. But the big thing, if you sign up for their newsletter right now, tonight, you can get 10% off of your first purchase at brotherbelial.com. And that opens tomorrow or at any point in the near future. So sign up. Make sure you get signed up tonight. brotherbelial.com.
Yeah, this was very intriguing because now the German media books are they going to be carrying like not just German movies?
Correct. Most of the German media books are U.S. films, so you can understand the audio.
Okay, because for a long time, I had my eye on the Extreme Prejudice, right? German media book. And I was like, come on, we got to bring it here. And then, of course, who was it? Vestron that put it out? I think it was
I believe so.
Vestron puts it out. So I picked that up. But there are several that still have not come over
Yeah.
here. So this is very exciting.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of different of the German companies that he's already carrying. I've seen pictures of a lot of the listings that are going to go up tomorrow, and it's going to be pretty damn exciting.
Cool.
If you're into those foreign releases, this is probably going to be one that you're going to want to bookmark because it's great. And he's really dependable, collector just like us. He used to be my hookup for vinyl, so
Okay.
the dude knows how to ship. That's the big thing. I know a lot of people are really worried about getting things damaged. He is going to be good for it, I promise.
Yeah. Cool. Good deal.
Fun City is releasing The Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz from 1974. This is a Richard Dreyfuss film. This one is coming with a new commentary by Adam Naiman and a booklet with an essay by Nathan Holmes. Kind of light on the features for Fun City.
Yeah. I was a little shocked by that, but Jonathan has put out just, he's like Fran, so dependable at putting out interesting movies. Jonathan has put out so many dream titles for people.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola Kid was a huge one. Born to Win. Bolitas. There's almost all the titles that Jonathan has put out. It's been like, oh my God, how did he? But it's his love. He digs in and so this is another one. I haven't seen Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz. I've of course heard of it, but I trust absolutely anything he does.
Good. Next up is Classic Flicks is releasing Cause for Alarm from 1951. This is the Loretta Young film. This is coming on November 28th on Blu-ray. And as we just joked about a minute ago, this will have the trailer and nothing else.
Never heard about this one.
Classic Flicks does great stuff. Hardly anybody ever talks about them. I would pay them some heed because they really dive in on quality.
Cool. Good deal.
Then, of course, the Kino fall sale went live today. This is live until October 10th, so you got plenty of time to shop. There are more than 750 titles. As we talked about earlier, bunch of Raro titles. There's a bunch of Jess Franco redemption films, if that's what you're into. A lot of their 4Ks are $17.99. Hell, the is it The Killing? I think the Kubrick film that it was like $13, 4K with the slipcover still.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of their canon titles are cheap, or a lot of the like under $10 ones. So
yeah, the Missing in Action trilogy.
Yeah,
that one is already I think $24.99.
Yep.
Killer's Kiss. That's one I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, there you go.
The Killing I think was still 15 or 18, but still, it's crazy, and tons of the new titles are already on sale.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was shocked about. And a lot of the titles that had been at the $9.99 price range are now, lower, which means probably lower stock for them. But so that's because I always, because I'm a cheap ass, always organize Blu-ray price lowest to highest. And I'm shocked to see, ones that have been in that $10 price range are now in the sort of $6 to $8.99 price range. So it's
nice.
It's cool. I love sale season.
Me too. Dude McMahon says I Am Santa, which is a documentary about mall Santas, is down to $5.99, but it's not even on the sale page. So if you're shopping, pick it up.
Never heard of that. I need to see that. That sounds fascinating.
Me neither, but it sounds fun. Arrow, because the Bruce Lee set sold out so quickly, they are announcing slipcover limited editions of Fist of Fury from 72, Game of Death from 78, The Big Boss from 71, and The Way of the Dragon. You'll be interested to see these all have booklets shown with them, slipcovers. These are all coming in a 4K release, and then there's a separate Blu-ray release. So if you missed out on these and you want them, you can pick these up. These are all due on November 13th in the UK only.
Cool.
Then the hottest superhero movie from the last 45 days is Blue Beetle, and that's coming on 4K and Blu-ray on Halloween from Warner Brothers. There is a Blu-ray or 4K Steelbook that you can get from Best Buy right now. It's got quite a bit of features, but they had to go out with a bang when they were ending the DCEU. May as well put a whole bunch of features on something that won't matter in the future continuity. So that's great.
My 5-year-old went to see this with my mom. He came home. I said, "How was it?" And even my 5-year-old, who thinks everything is cool, went, "Eh."
I do kind of want to see it once. I'm not super against all the superhero things. I just wish all the stories weren't the same.
Sure. Yeah.
Like the last 4 years, all we've been talking about is the multiverse. Can we do something else?
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. We still have Aquaman 2, The Search for More Beer coming out soon. I forgot about that one. Next up, this is Eye for an Eye. The Blind Swordman is coming from Welgo on November 28th. This is like loosely related to the Zatoichi films.
Okay.
Very interested in seeing these. I still need to watch most of the other Zatoichi films.
Yeah, same. I've only seen one, maybe.
The UK is also getting the Criterion release of Pinocchio in 4K. That one is coming December 18th.
Perfect cover art.
It's so good and detailed when you zoom in. Like all of the line work is
incredible. Yes, for God's sake. I mean, look at I'm pointing like you people can see what I'm looking at. With the gas masks. That's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Let's see what is next. Another UK release, Megan, is coming on 4K there as well. This is coming on October 30th. And this Steelbook is also coming in the US, but this one is going to have a whole bunch of specialty items with it. You got 40-page production notes. You got 4 art cards, a Perpetual Pets promo flyer. Did you see Megan yet?
Oh, God, yes. Loved it.
I thought it was pretty good. The unrated cut was much better than
really?
the
I haven't.
theatrical.
Is that one streaming on?
It was.
Okay.
Was it Peacock? I think.
Yeah, Peacock. Yeah. This is one that a lot of modern horror I don't need to own because I'll never watch it again. This is one I can see going back to because it's so fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't normally stump so hard for the unrated cut, but there's one scene specifically, if you remember the elevator scene.
Okay.
It makes it so much better because there is so much blood.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Love it.
It is much better. Then this is a pretty big deal. Scarecrow Video in Seattle. This is literally the largest archive of physical media, I believe, anywhere in the country. And who knows in the world, maybe. Like it's the largest that is publicly accessible. And they are now allowing people to rent by mail to your home. And the way this is going to work, it is $12 for up to 6 discs. It's a flat rate shipping, and that includes shipping to you and them. And you get the discs for a 14-day rental window. That's going to include shipping times. So there's late fees, so you got to watch out for that. You might want to refresh those if you're going to be a little late. But it is incredible what they have. There's so many titles, obviously, that are only on VHS, on DVD, on lost formats. It's incredible that they're doing this. And the big thing, they're a nonprofit. They put so much love into this. They absolutely need everything that they can get. There's support. There's ways on their website to support them. You can become a member and get some discounts. I wonder if they're going to revamp that a little bit. So if you're a member in New Hampshire, if you get some sort of benefits, because a lot of their membership stuff, it really benefits those that live in Seattle.
Okay.
But this is just freaking impressive. I mean, they've got collections worth of stuff spanning 130 years in more than 130 countries. They also have a really great YouTube channel. They're up to like 65 episodes of their show called Viva Physical Media, and it is so much fun because it dives into different aspects of physical media. Like I think their newest episode, there was an 8-minute section where all they talked about was Final Destination 3. And I love that you brought up Final Destination earlier, because I just watched this in the last couple days, and they're talking about how on the old DVD version, it was basically a choose your own adventure. A menu would pop up during a kill, and you could make a choice on your remote, and somebody could live or die,
Oh my
and
god.
you could change the entire film. It's only on the DVD version. It was advertised on the Blu-ray, but was not actually on the disc.
Oh.
So it is great. And they're like, this is just an underseen special feature. You might want to check this out. I loved the Final Destination series, and I loved that feature back in the day.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Scarecrow is somebody that deserves attention. They deserve support. They deserve, something cool happening for them. And for people all over the country to be able to do this, this is amazing. Obviously, Netflix disc service is gone and dead, or about to be gone and dead. This can easily pick up where they just left off. So if you're interested, please check out Scarecrow Video. This is a big deal. And honestly, it's not a bad price at all.
No, I was worried when I saw the what is it, $12.99, whatever it is, for shipping when they first announced this. But then noticed that it included the prepaid postage back. Yeah. Come on, for what? However many, 6?
Up to 6 discs. Yeah.
Up to 6. Come on, you can't beat that.
Yeah. And they do have some stuff like Sibner's pointing out here. They've got some things that are so rare that you have to put a deposit down on.
Whoa.
Just in case. But it is worth it to get your hands on something that's just not available out there. I mean, I showed a Laserdisc earlier. Keep in mind, there's some things that Laserdisc is the only cut for some of these. Like the original Scream. The uncut Scream is still only available on Laserdisc. It's not available anywhere else.
Interesting.
So check out Scarecrow Video. You might be into it.
Yeah, Scarecrow is sort of like, at least for me, Mecca. Someday I would love to be able to travel up there and visit. My friend Kristen, who lives in San Francisco, just went up there with her partner and sent me a bunch of pictures. And, I'm just drooling at the mouth thinking, oh,
nice.
God, so lucky. So hopefully someday I'll get to roam the aisles for hours and hours on end.
That's incredible. Yeah, I hope so too. I've still never been to Washington, so someday.
Yep.
Next up, The Odd Couple, the complete series, is coming on December 5th. This is going to be a pressed, made-on-demand release again, like we talked about earlier. This is all 5 seasons of The Odd Couple, but no clue on if this is going to have some cuts. I imagine all of the original music is probably not present, and I don't think it was even on the DVDs. So it would be very surprising. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's not like when they announce this, they're very proud to announce the cuts. So
is MOD new for Paramount, or have they been doing that for a while?
Most studios have at least a few titles that are made on demand. It's not it's not. Oh wow. Joel Fisher from Scarecrow Video says, thanks for the shout out and the kind words. That's amazing. Thanks, Joel. Made on demand has been happening for years, obviously, with many of these studios. But the odd thing is that like 4K titles are getting made on demand releases.
Oh, interesting.
The miniseries Station 11, I think it was called. That's a made on demand 4K pressed disc release.
Wow.
So it's kind of coming from everybody right now, and it's one that I understand the benefits, because especially something like this, I don't know how many people are willing to pay for a 15 disc release of The Odd Couple complete series on Blu-ray.
Sure.
Maybe they can't guarantee 1,000 print run, but we got to realize this is 15 discs. That's 15,000 discs. That's not cheap.
No.
So I kind of get it.
Sure. No, I'm not opposed to MOD at all. But of course, Warner has been doing MOD for, ever since they've been
forever
doing Blu-ray, right? And so this is the first one that I jumped out at me that Paramount is doing, but they've obviously been doing it for a while.
Yeah, that's true. Then 88 Films saw that Severin announced Count Dracula. And 88 Films said, hold on, we're putting out Count Dracula on 4K as well. And this was such an odd announcement. They basically posted, we're bored while driving, so we're going to post that we're releasing this. And it said, after 18 months in the restoration pipeline, we are now very, very close to finishing our 4K Dolby Vision master of the great Jess Franco's Count Dracula from the original negatives that were located Indiana Jones style in a Temple of Doom somewhere near Bucharest, probably. Once we'd cleaned all the blood off, the quality was startling. And then they posted after that, and I didn't include it because it was such an odd joke. It's so good, we don't think it needs many features. So coming soon on a single disc DVD release. I don't know what to take seriously from this.
Man, I don't get 88. I mean, I like some of their releases, but they seem to be acting strange lately.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't really know what's happening here. The only thing I will say is this has Dolby Vision and Severance only has HDR10.
But after all the dumb shit they said,
right.
I don't know what am I. Listen, I'm with John. Make mine Severin. Yeah, they sound bitter. Exactly.
They do sound a little bitter about Severin. I get that. Anyways, last thing, out of nowhere, Diabolic announced Haunted Samurai is up and available on their site. This is from 1970, and oh my gosh, does the copy on this thing really sell it? Mm-hmm. It says the most gory ninja film of its era is now on video for the first time ever, based on the works of Goseki Kojima, the artist behind the legendary Lone Wolf and Cub. The tale spins topless crossbow vixens, haunted temples, and an assortment of severed limbs into a tapestry of colorful violence. Who doesn't want that?
Question: why has Jesse just released stuff straight through Diabolic? Why not through Cauldron?
This is not a Diabolic or Cauldron release. He referred to a company called now I forgot the title.
Sorry.
It was I looked this up earlier. I couldn't find any listing for the company. So let me see if I can get the title so I don't get this wrong here. They are called Surviving Element.
Huh.
So I'm very curious about this one.
Yeah.
This is also says here, this is a one-time pressing and will not be repressed or reissued. But then it says available exclusively from Diabolic DVD and other fine indie retailers. What other fine indie retailers? That would be wonderful to know. Like, are they only brick and mortar stores in the Philly area,
right,
or can other people count on Orbit or something? So not sure there. But the big thing, this does have a commentary by Chris Paggiali and John Charles. So it's got something on there, and it sounds freaking great.
Yeah, and that art by Vanessa is fantastic.
Yeah,
so cool. Yeah,
really good.
Hard sell on that one.
And that is it for the week. A lot as normal because physical media is far from dead. Obviously,
not dead.
Let's talk about, as we always do, what is coming out next week, and that is A Blade in the Dark 4K getting its retail release, and Loki, the complete first season coming from Disney, Natural Born Killers 4K, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot 4K from Kino, The Train 4K from Kino, My Bloody Valentine 4K, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer 4K, La Bamba from Criterion, Moon Age Daydream 4K from Criterion, that Carlito's Way 4K disc, and I've heard that it looks incredible.
You know, I wish I could watch it in 4K, but I just have stinky old Blu-ray.
Maybe soon. Cats Don't Dance from Warner Archive is one that I absolutely have to pick up soon. Elemental 4K from Pixar. We got some reprints of some steelbooks, including Ghostbusters 1 and 2, The Fifth Element, and a couple more, I believe, down below. School of Rock Blu-ray steelbook. I've been tricked by Paramount before, so I imagine this will probably get a 4K in 6 months. The giant Gila monster, or Gila monster, however you want to say that, that's coming from Film Masters this week. The Halloween H2O H20 Steelbook with the very odd cover art that they went with. That comes out this next Tuesday. Girl from Rio, the Jess Franco 4K from Blue Underground. The Doom Generation, a Blu-ray title people have been waiting on for a long, long time. Glad that is coming. Let's see. Death Wish 5 is next week. Death Wish 4 is next week, both from Kino. Westward the Women is coming. Westward the Women, sorry, is coming from Warner Archive. Le Mépris or Contempt 4K is coming. I believe that's a Lionsgate title. Jeans Blues No Future coming from Discotech next week. Ruby Gilman Teenage Kraken was supposed to be pretty damn good, actually.
Yeah.
Have not seen that one. It's supposed to be great. Saratoga from Warner Archive is next week as well. Nicolas Cage's next cheesy movie, Sympathy for the Devil, is dropping. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is getting another Steelbook reprint. Replicator and the Abomination. I don't remember which title. A lot of people have those already, so won't spend too much time on those. Piccadilly, the Anime Wong film from the Kino distributed Milestone Cinematheque. Nil by Mouth is dropping from Sony Pictures Classics. There's kind of a lot this next coming week.
There is. Good Lord.
We are still scrolling. The Equalizer 4K Steelbook reprint. The Legend of Calamity Jane. We talked about this last year. Was a Kickstarter. This is finally being released, so you can pick it up. Kirandiru is supposed to be great. This is another Sony Pictures Classics title. Sabura from Unearthed Films is getting great reviews already. It's supposed to be an incredible crime thriller. Too much in the next week.
Man.
Anything that you're picking up or you got your eyes on?
It's overwhelming, for sure. I would love to see a Blade in the Dark because I've only seen it one time, real shitty quality, years ago. So I would love to see that in 4K. Someday, hopefully maybe in the next week. We'll see.
It's one of those movies that it can really suffer if you watch it in a low quality. And oh, did it suffer the first time I saw it? I hated the first time I watched it.
Me too. Like I was like, God, you freak! And it was like one of the first sort of Giallo movies I'd seen. I was like, because I had seen Demons. I'm like, oh, I love Lamberto Bava, and then I watched this. I'm like, what are we doing here? So I'm excited to see it in good quality.
I agree. Well, we don't have a ton of time, but let's get right into 1982. We talked about why it was important. Obviously, birth year is a big thing. But let's just start with our top 5, and then if you're going to hang out for Vinegar Syndrome, maybe after we can go into like some honorable mentions. Because oh my God, do I have a lot?
Yeah, I do too.
All right, what's your number 5 for 1982 favorite films?
So again, these aren't necessarily favorite, but these are 5 that I love that live in my head now and are definitely in the group of favorites. So I'm going to start with The Gray Fox, starring Robert Foxworth, from director Philip Borsos. And have you seen The Gray Fox?
I've not.
Okay. I don't know if it's on the Kino sale or not, but if it is, absolutely pick it up because it is an incredible film. It's about an aging train robber. He gets out of jail after being in for a long time, tries to go clean, realizes I'm too old to learn anything new. I know how to do one thing and I do it well, and that's rob trains. And he gets in a relationship with Jackie Burroughs, and it's a very sweet sort of grown-up romance movie, but also funny because Robert Foxworth is, he's older in this movie, and it's super charming. So I love The Gray Fox.
I am probably going to want to check that one out. I don't know if it was in the sale. I'm going to have to go look for that.
Yeah.
I also feel terrible now because all 5 of mine are very mainstream titles.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I believe we're probably going to cover 2 very different sides of the coin tonight.
Good.
My number 5 is one that I just talked about probably 6 or 7 weeks ago on here. Another one that we're dying to get a Blu-ray of, Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Oh.
I have seen this movie way too many times before I was like 15 years old. I don't understand why I watched this so much when I was younger. It's probably just because of how much music was important to both of my parents, and it was huge in my life. But the surrealism that is deep in this movie is something that I just gravitated to. And I wasn't, I was a super goody two shoes kid. I'd never done any drugs. Don't know why, but man, this movie hit me hard when I was younger. Love The Wall, and yeah, give us a Blu-ray, please.
That is insane that it doesn't have a Blu-ray. And The Wall, I've never seen The Wall. And I same as you, grew up in a musical house, always listen to music. Um, also goody two shoes, and but I was always interested in sort of drug culture,
Yeah.
living vicariously through music and through movies and stuff. Yeah.
All right, what is your number 4?
Number 4, I'm gonna go with a Randall Kleiser movie. I dig Randall Kleiser. He made some interesting movies. But this one I absolutely love. It's Summer Lovers, starring Peter Gallagher, and Daryl Hannah, and Valerie Kennison. And it's such a sweet sort of uber horny romance movie. Peter Gallagher and Daryl Hannah are summering during college break in the Greek islands, and they start a menage with Valerie Kennison, and it's such a sweet romantic movie shot on location. Of course, it's stunningly beautiful. Also a Blu-ray from Kino that again, I don't know if it's in the sale or not, but I'm not pimping Kino here. It's just this is the way it worked out. But super, I love this movie. This is one I wrote about it when I did that series, and immediately bought the Blu-ray, and then have watched it, every summer since. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, if they made a movie like that nowadays, it would be on some shitty green screen, and it would be shot in some studio. It would not have the same feeling. It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
My number 4 is one that I watched again way too many times. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Like, this movie captures the essence. There's something about this, and the sad thing is, it probably boils down to it has a female touch to it.
Yep.
It is such a uniquely written, hilarious, but also just realistic look at everything. Everything they touch on in this was ahead of its time, done in a way that was safe and real and human, and not over the top. Let's focus on 16-year-olds losing their virginity before prom, which has always been a weird trope in movies for me.
Yep.
And it's just more of like the fumbling awkwardness of life and
Yep.
growth.
Yeah, it's one of the most honest, brutally honest coming of age stories, and it is still as relevant because we've all gone through that growing up, coming of age. Yes, we're in different parts of the country or different eras, but we're all experiencing the same thing.
Yep.
Life is difficult when you're that age, and when I hear people say, "Oh man, I wish I could go back to high school," I think, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I hated high school.
Terrible. That's such a hard time. And Fast Times absolutely nails it. Love that movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so this one is one I just watched for the first time this year. Came out on Blu-ray for the first time from Arrow, and it's Louis Teague's Fighting Back.
Oh, wow.
Have you watched this yet? Did you get that disc?
I believe I have it, but I don't even think I've seen the whole thing, but it's one that I spent some time looking into and like read a lot about and flipped through some of the scenes, and it's on, if I don't have it, it's on my must watch list soon. So
it's I love Tom Skerritt, another one who was very comforting to see on screen. Of course, Picket Fences, grew up watching that. And he plays a character not like his character on Picket Fences at all. He's this deli owner in Philadelphia, and he's tired of the crime in his neighborhood, and so he and his friends start sort of like this neighborhood watch vigilante program, and sometimes take it too far and like gets power hungry, and then ends up, saving some woman's life or something, where he gets known citywide and is on the news, and then he is begged to run for office, and then it ends this sort of ambiguous ending where it's this campaign party, and he wins, but does he really want this? It's so great and gritty. We don't have enough Philly movies,
Right.
or maybe we do, and I just haven't seen enough of them. This is an incredible movie. It's it's about Italian American heritage, and Tom Skerritt, Patti LuPone or a couple in this movie. Michael Sarrazin is his friend or brother-in-law maybe. Incredible movie, great package from Arrow. Love it.
Yeah, Arrow when they hit it out of the park, man, they are great
so far. Yeah.
My number 3 is one that was foundational for me. I am a huge fan, and it's ridiculous that my top 3 you could say are very similar, but my number 3 is foundational for multiple reasons. I love horror. I love the writer. I love the director. I love anthology films. I got to talk about Creepshow.
Oh yeah.
Stephen King is for so many of us, he was all of our like unique gateways, because not only did many of us read him, but saw his adaptations and really dove into this other world where he could, just like I just talked about with Fast Times, he really tells the story of adolescence in a way that most writers cannot capture appropriately. It's more realistic, more done in a way that is something that the reader can hold on to and have it mean more. And somehow that shows up in Creepshow. It works so well because they're all just these humane stories that obviously they're not realistic for the most part, but they have these humane touches that just make you go, fuck, this is amazing.
Yeah.
The other big thing, Stephen King is in it, and he's got my last name in the movie, Jordy Verrill. I have to grab onto that. That's a big deal.
I'll be dipped in shit.
I love that segment. Obviously the crate is great. Ted Danson's segment with Leslie Nielsen is incredible. Adrienne Barbeau's in this. I didn't even say George A. Romero yet. Like the fact that he and Stephen King came together,
like perfect. They're
right.
They work so well together.
Right. There's so much I could say, but I will stop here because I mean, 5 stories with a great wraparound. Like this got me into anthology horror, which I love now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do want to say it is Stephen King's birthday today. So happy birthday to the King.
All right. Real quick question. Do you like Creepshow or Creepshow 2 better?
I'm actually a Creepshow person. Creepshow 2 is not bad, but I saw it way after Creepshow. Okay. So it just didn't live up to the first one for me. I don't remember why that one was so out of touch for me from the first one. But yeah, the first one I saw very young. The second one was like maybe 13 or 14.
Okay. I see. I saw Creepshow 2 first, like as an adult, and then saw Creepshow a couple years later. And I think most people probably prefer the first one. But I prefer the second one, and most people hate the first segment, with the cigar store Indian.
Yeah,
I love that segment. So
I like it a lot, and I also really like. Obviously, the raft is probably the best segment out of both. Oh yeah, of them.
They're all so good.
But it's I don't know. I think the first one just flows better for me.
Yeah. Maybe it is like whichever one you saw first. I don't know. I think Ryan's have conniption. Sorry, Ryan. You love what you love. You love what you love.
Oh, he's telling me how dare.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh my. Okay. Well, look at that. I'm shocked that people. All right, come into bat for a Creep Show 2. I appreciate that.
Amazing. Amazing.
Okay. What are we at? Number 2. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. Oh, it's hysterical. Damn it, we're just gonna talk about Creepshow for the rest of the time. I'm gonna talk about another Kino disc. No, this isn't Kino. My apologies. It's Warner Archive. Cannery Row from director David S. Rowe, and it stars Nick Nolte and another childhood crush of mine, Deborah Winger.
Nice.
And he is a doctor and this is it's I can't remember, it's early 1900s, where the canneries of California, like in Monterey, have all like businesses dried up, and so everybody's out of work. And so Nick Nolte is sort of like the little village doctor, and Deborah Winger is this new woman that moves into town, and he, like, the only work for her is in this brothel, and she doesn't really do the sex work or anything. But so they develop this really funny, very charming romance. Again, this is sort of like one of those adult sort of, romance movies. It's hysterical. There's a dancing scene between Nolte and Winger. Like, I had me rolling. I was in tears watching it. Again, I wrote about it for F This Movie a few years ago, immediately bought the Blu-ray afterwards, and have watched it probably half a dozen times since. It is so charming. And the setting, like it's just, it's obviously all on this sound stage, but it's such a charming, it's like, I want to live in this little place. It's really cool.
I love this movie. This is one that was on my honorable mention list, so I won't have to talk about it later. But yeah, this one is great. I love Nick Nolte before he got a little weird.
I like weird Nolte too.
The weird choices that he makes are great. It's the weird outside of the movies Nolte that's always awkward. Yeah, Deborah Winger is great. This like really got that essence of the 40s, I think, is what they were shooting for, and it's just awesome. It's one of those worlds where you're like, I could see living there. This is pretty cool.
Absolutely. Like, I'll live on the streets, sure, because it's, you're in California, decent weather, you listen to the waves lap up on, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. If you've not seen this one, please check out this disc. It's a really good looking Blu-ray too.
Yep.
Number 2 is probably not much of a surprise because I've talked about this many times on this channel. I think this is maybe one of the like second tier gateway horrors. I got to go with Poltergeist. This movie is perfection for me. Incredible setting. We've got what I've said this many times on the channel, so people are going to hate me saying this again, but we have what I think is the most realistic couple in horror ever.
Absolutely. Yes.
They don't hate each other. They don't fight at all. They support each other even through this fucking weird phenomenon that they're facing. They get high after their kids go to bed. They just hang out and watch TV. This movie is wild. It goes further than you expect, and this movie is just so perfect from start to finish, and it's creepy as hell. Tobe Hooper killed this movie.
Oh God, it's so my boys have been asking. I have a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. Oh boy, I hope it's not going to be on mine. It's not going to be on mine. So holy crap! Sorry, folks. Damn it, I forgot what I was saying. My boys have been asking to see it. My 10-year-old would be able to handle it. I think Poltergeist is at 41. I think Poltergeist is still scary, and so I'm a little hesitant to show my 5-year-old. Now here's the kicker. My 5-year-old has seen A Nightmare on Elm Street. He has seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'm hesitant to show him Poltergeist, a PG-rated movie.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Great movie.
Wow, Zombies Ate My Arm says prefers Poltergeist 2.
You know what? I've never seen the second one, but I love Poltergeist 3.
Poltergeist 2 is still pretty good.
Yeah, cool. I missed out on Scream Factories 2, but then like they sold out of 3 too, but then they came back and said, we have, what, a dozen or 20,
Right.
whatever copies. And so I hopped on there real quick and had to get it.
Nice.
I love Poltergeist 3. Okay. So my number one, which isn't really my number one, but this is a movie that is not on Blu-ray. It absolutely freaking should be on Blu-ray, even if they don't clean it up. It needs to be on disc, is what it needs. It's Paul Morrissey's 40 Deuce. Now, Morrissey, of course, was part of the Factory, Andy Warhol's Factory, and did a lot of interesting work. And I'm a big Paul Morrissey fan. He did Trash. He did, a bunch of stuff with D'Alessandro. 40 Deuce is Morrissey out on his own, and it is a play written by Alan Bown, and it feels like a filmed play. And what it is, you have these street hustlers. I don't know why Esai Morales keeps coming up. He's come up 3 times so far in this episode. You have Kevin Bacon in a very early role. You have Mark Keelan. You have Tommy Cetera and Esai Morales. They're 4 hustlers who work for a pimp, and they have like this really nasty sex apartment, like they use for their hookups and everything. And so they introduce this new kid who's going to be one of the sex workers. He's like, he's a child, 12, 13, 14 years old. But he overdoses on drugs and dies. And so they have this client coming up, played by Orson Bean. And Orson Bean is an older gentleman, and he wants, this underage thing. And the guys try to sell him this dead underage boy for sexual purposes. It's very dark. It's not
learning
funny.
A lot about you tonight, Anthony.
Yeah, it's. I don't know why I shouldn't be smiling or laughing. This is not a funny movie. Like I said, I love a heavy drama. Nothing is heavier than selling a dead 12-year-old for sex. I don't know what to tell you.
Jesus
Here's the thing. It's so interesting how Morrissey films this. He films this in these long takes with 2 cameras, one constantly on Orson Bean and the other constantly on the hustlers. And no cuts. We're just watching like it's a filmed play in this disgusting apartment. And the plot is very repulsive. It's all about the performances. It is incredible. I'm talking like 15 to 20 minutes at a take with no cuts. Incredible performances. This movie, as they say, is not for everybody.
I'm shocked.
It is very, very interesting. I want to big shout out to our friend Chris O'Neill, who sent me. He said, "Have you ever seen 40 Deuce?" No, I've never heard of it. He said, "You have to watch it." And so he sent me 40 Deuce, and Chris is my pusher. He's my Irish pusher.
Chris is amazing. That's fantastic. Okay, so many people saying that their picks would be 5 out of 5 different from both of us. I'm sure that's probably the case for many of these. I will say going into this, E.T. is a great movie. It's not on my list. I'm sorry. Blade Runner, I've been very high on it previously. I've been very low on it previously. It's not on my list. I'm sorry. The Thing, obviously everybody loves The Thing. It's not on Anthony's list. Thankfully, it is my number one.
Okay,
and I saved the other Laserdisc that was brought to me. This is the Japanese Laserdisc of The Thing.
Oh my God.
And I am so stoked to have this. I had to wait and make people think I wasn't going to pick this because it's a perfect movie. Yeah. This is like the most rewatchable film of all time.
Yeah.
I adore this movie. I've watched it, God, probably 312 times at least. Absolutely adore this movie.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat. The deaf crocodile comes in, and what the hell have I walked into? I'm sorry.
It's perfect.
Yeah, the thing is insanely rewatchable. That's the thing. Like when I on Letterboxd, I have like a top 100, and it's all for me. It's all about rewatchability. It's not the best. It's what can I watch over and over. The Thing I can watch over and over and over. That might be my favorite 1982 movie. Just because I'll watch it. You can watch it half a dozen times a year and not get sick of it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. 1982 has so many great movies. This is not easy to do at all. It's I mean, the amount of stuff that I could have listed. I mean, even I said that we would go into honorable mentions later, but like I've been diving into Don Bluth. The Secret of NIMH came out in 1982, and it's a freaking masterpiece. And it's what he left Disney for, and it's so much more than just an animated decent movie. It is exactly what like was needed at that time. It was the answer to the super saccharine Disney flavor that everybody had after going to the theater for every single one. It was the response that was real, that was like they showed blood. Oh my god, what a terrible thing. They're actually sitting in situations that Disney would never put some of their characters into, and it's a freaking masterpiece.
Yeah, man. You know what? I haven't seen Secret of NIMH since I was a kid. I feel like would they have re-released that in the theaters? I feel like I saw that in the theater. Maybe it was American Tail.
Yeah, I mean they probably could have.
But yeah, man, that was such a huge part of my childhood too, man.
Yeah, there's a lot from Don Bluth that affected me, but Secret of NIMH, especially watching it again this month, I was just blown away. It's so well done. It's animated beautifully. Some of the stuff that they were able to pull off, I don't even think Disney's done. Like the way that they took some of their 3D animations and made it look on a clear backboard, like they were coming around something in an animated world.
Yes.
That doesn't really get done in a lot of stuff that isn't computer generated. It was so well done back then.
So my dad was an artist. What time we got? 7 minutes. Was an artist, and his art to me really resembled Ralph Bakshi's art. And so I don't love hardly any of Bakshi's movies. I think they're fine, but I find them comforting because the art style reminds me of my dad's. Right. But my dad could mimic. I mean, this was the talent he had. He could mimic Don Bluth's style too. And so, man, maybe that might be a good kind of trip down memory lane. We'll do Secret of NIMH. We'll do All Dogs to Go to Heaven. God, yeah, his art is still incomparable.
Not to make this the Don Bluth love hour ahead of time, but man, if you have not watched Anastasia in a long time,
oh my god,
that movie is a masterpiece.
So good. Oh my god, so good. Well, and I always had a huge crush on Meg Ryan, so like that was a huge sell for me. Love John Cusack. Of course, they're not singing in that, but I love the music. I mean, everything about that movie is, oh god, it's so good.
As we bring up Vinegar Syndrome on the screen, we still got a good 5 minutes. You want to run through some honorable mentions real quick?
You bet. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna throw out. Okay, I love Night Shift.
Okay. It was on my list too. Yeah.
Okay, so like this was a huge when Warner Archive announced this, right? It was huge. And so picked up the Blu-ray and just another insane rewatchable movie because Michael Keaton is he's in his kind of crazy prime. Keaton pairs perfectly with the nebbishy Henry Winkler, and then Shelley Long is so charming in this movie. But here's the thing, the theme song, Can I Work You on the Night Shift? I can't remember who the hell sang it. Jonathan Hertzberg created an incredible Dirty Old New York playlist on Spotify. I encourage people to go find it. And he has the theme song to Night Shift on that playlist. And so we listen to that. We usually put on that playlist for our dinner music. And Night Shift is my 10-year-old's favorite song of all time. And I remember when I told him, because he's sitting there, like, I remember one night we drove out for ice cream and he's in the front seat with me and he's singing along with the song. And I said, "Do you know what you're singing about?" And he said, "No." I said, "You're singing about prostitutes, and sex workers." And he's like, "Oh my gosh." So I love Night Shift. It's such a funny movie.
It's a good one. I'm going to do like lightning around a couple of mine.
Yeah.
Like I said, E.T., great. Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. I could talk about that movie for like 4 hours. That movie is damn near perfect as well. If you've never seen it, please check it out. Imprint put out a really good Blu-ray. Schrader's Cat People.
Oh, yeah.
Wild movie. Liquid Sky does not get enough love. Liquid Sky, older Vinegar Syndrome release. Incredible movie. We talked about Brother Belial earlier. Basket Case. I adore Basket Case.
Yeah,
82 was a weird year for those like grindhousey type films, but man, Basket Case really nailed some of that seedy New York, like strong New York feeling.
Yeah.
I got a handful more. I've got Slumber Party Massacre. It's incredible.
Yep.
The Entity, not talked about enough. Great movie.
So good.
Juan Piquer Simone's Pieces. If you've never seen it, like, this is one of the better ridiculous giallos out there. Love Pieces. King of Comedy, one of my favorites. Got to bring up Scorsese. Tron, it's a classic. It's very good. It would never be near my top 5. And then I'm going to go for my real deep cut. Speaking of Warner Archive, Death Trap. Death Trap is a wonderful movie.
Death Trap. Oh, yes. Great. Talk about another film to play. Like, incredible movie. Let me throw my favorite year. Love. My favorite year. Tootsie. I really love. My favorite Fulci of all time, New York Ripper. It's a nice little romp, light movie there. Chan is Missing. Criterion finally put that out last year. Incredible San Francisco movie. Come back to the Five and Dime. Jimmy Dean is another play that Altman filmed. And then I'll throw out one more. The Border. Have you seen The Border?
I love The Border. It's in the Kino sale right now. So if you've never seen The Border, get Jack Nicholson's The Border. It's incredible.
It's really good. Great 80s cop movie. Yeah.
Love that movie. Okay. 82 is amazing. Basically, we had two weeks in a row where we did a year in film and they were both just ridiculously good years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now the time is basically here for Vinegar Syndrome. We have a VSU being announced tonight. We have a 10-film box set being announced tonight. We have a couple other titles that should be revealed. The only thing we really know, the VSU is not going to be, the box set is not going to be re-releases. They're all going to be brand new films to Vinegar Syndrome. It's not going to be stuff that they put out previously on DVD and their upgrades. The other thing, the VSU is a Paramount title. So my guess for the Paramount title, I'm already, if you looked at the link that I put up in the chat, I put up the fact that I think it's going to be Looking for Mr. Goodbar. I'm not sure, but we did get a little bit of a clue earlier this year that Mr. Goodbar was a clue. No idea what it's going to be. We do know the Prophecy trilogy is coming, so that'll probably be revealed tonight. Not sure if they're going to reveal all the extras and all that, but I hope so. I know that for the last sale, they didn't reveal all of the details. It's usually fairly horror heavy. So, although I guess the 10-film box set, I would imagine is probably not 100% horror. Dude McMahon says, I've ridden the Staten Island ferry several times while visiting New York City, but never knew you could ferry a car on it until I saw New York Ripper. Sivner says it's from Paramount. I'm saying Clue, and I got to tell you, if it's Clue, I would be freaking ecstatic. That would be one of my favorites. Absolute favorites. Either way, we are about to see what it is in the next, hopefully, about 10, 15 seconds. Just in time, Anthony.
All right, I timed it perfectly.
Timed it perfectly. The countdown was all for you. The VSU is
dry.
Daryl, Daryl, and I have no idea what that is.
I've heard of that.
And let's see. All right. Prophecy 1 through 3. Vinegar Syndrome's Lost Picture Show. This is the box set, and it's $75. Interesting. 10 film collection of long thought lost American genre films, all restored from their best known and surviving elements. This wide ranging collection covers genres from exploitation to horror to kids' films to underground vanity projects, and a couple movies so weird they defy description. Included are The Las Vegas Strangler, Larry Crane's murder mystery Nudie, Beware the Black Widow, Joe Sarno's stirring seaside drama Deep Inside, Albert Zugsmith's notorious bad taste thriller Violated, Walter Burns' underground sexual freakout Barbara, James Newslow's nuclear holocaust scare film Red Midnight, Titus Mode's Ode to Forgotten Americana, The Last of the American Hobos, Carlos Tobalina's erotic morality tale What's Love, Charles Nizitz's Sex and Gore Frenzy, The Sex Serum of Dr. Blake. That's the original cut of Voodoo Heartbeat. And finally, Don Greer's jaw-dropping and unnerving kiddie film and musical The Rare Blue Apes of Cannibal Isle. What's more is this release also include Elijah Drenner's brand new feature-length documentary Against the Grain, which examines how genre film-focused home video companies have taken the charge in preserving, restoring, and releasing so many works which otherwise might have been lost to time. That is pretty damn cool.
I didn't know Elijah had another one in the pipe. That's cool.
Yeah, he has very much been keeping that a secret for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. So it says this massive collection also comes complete with 2 thick, fully illustrated, perfect bound books of newly written essays and historical analysis covering each of the included films. Additional info: limited edition multi-disc region-free Blu-ray set housed in a custom winged landscape box with 2 perfect bound books. Do we have pictures? Let's see. Interesting. I don't want to scroll through too many of the pictures, considering there were so many mentions of sex. So let's go back to the homepage. They're also putting out Fatal Games. This is one that people have been after for a long time. Fatal Games, it says, no slasher has been more requested of us than Michael Elliott's hood-wearing, javelin-hurling maniac thriller Fatal Games from '84, and we couldn't be happier to finally have the honor of putting it out on Blu-ray for the first time ever. When a mystery killer with an excellent throwing arm begins brutally murdering would-be Olympians with a javelin, it's up to the surviving team members to unmask the assailant before they too are impaled, and it'll be region-free. Additional extras will come eventually.
Love it.
New first-time interviews with the cast and crew will be included. Let's see how much of this I can go through before I see anything I shouldn't. All right. Nothing there. That's nice. And then the Prophecy 1 through 3 collection. This is going to be a multi-disc 4K set, Region A Blu-rays, 4K with HDR. Additional extras coming soon. New and exclusive bonus features, including director, cast, and crew interviews, providing the ultimate foray into good versus evil.
Have you seen any of the Prophecy movies?
Yes, and they are batshit. Have you?
I know I haven't, but I've always wanted to.
They are very awkward. They're weird. They get a little weirder. They kind of remind me of the tone of like the Phantasm series, where they're kind of a fever dream at some points.
I love that sort of tone. So
yeah,
might be. Yeah, what is Daryl?
Daryl is from '85, and it says VSU is delighted to present the 4K debut of Simon Winsor's cyborg action spectacular Daryl, newly and exclusively restored for this release by VS. While 10-year-old Daryl might seem like your above average junior high student, he is in fact a highly sophisticated robot developed by the government as a potential weapon. When Uncle Sam decides to terminate the project and deactivate him, the scientists responsible for his development make it their mission to save Daryl, setting into motion a battle of wits as the young cyborg uses all of his skills to outsmart his would-be destroyers, resulting in a thrilling and action-packed display of incredible car chases and stunt work. Interesting.
So this is Vinegar Syndrome's second Simon Wincer movie. They did Snapshot early on years ago. I'm a big Simon Wincer fan. He did The Phantom with Billy Zane. Hell of a director.
Snapshot is very good too.
Yes, I love Snapshot.
This looks to be right in line with a couple of their other VSUs. Super intriguing. I can see why this wouldn't be a VSU and not just a regular VS title, because it's certainly, you know, it's a cult title, but it's not in the horror sexploitation
genre
type.
Sure. Yep.
Interesting. So some reminders. We got some discounted items here. Nothing is on sale right now. This is just a flash pre-order, but for the flash pre-order items, they will not be cheaper than this at the sale. They will be more expensive, actually. So if you really want these, this weekend would be the time to get it, unless you think that they're going to be in for a sale, you know, next May, which not saying that they're not going to be, not saying they will. It's been an odd time to try to speculate on how long some of these titles will last for Vinegar Syndrome lately. That's for sure.
That FOMO is a real son of a bitch.
Craig says his cinematography professor in college was the DP on Prophecy.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Maybe I might have to do the Prophecy for at least the first one for my October. 1 through 5.
It's a good one.
Huh.
Yeah, they do have 5 of them, and VS is only doing the first 3.
Okay. Is Christopher Walken in all 3 of them?
I think he's in the first 3 for sure. I don't remember on the last 2. Sibner says, do we think the donation gift is in relation to any of these? If they're doing the same thing as last year, it'll probably be a different slipcover or slip box for one of the 2 mystery titles. Although Fatal Games is such a big one, I could see them doing something for that, actually. And then let me see outside of view if any of these I can not show.
Somebody said they weren't, and that it's bad shit, although there's 2 naked people there. Walken not in the final 2 prophecies, but he is in the first 3.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep, I can't show some.
Oh yes. Although that musical, the kitty, the blue people of the whatever it is, sounds quite intriguing to me.
Very, yes. Man, the Prophecy, the first 3 are $63 on sale. 3 4Ks in a box set. I get the price. That's not $20 a 4K. That's not awful.
But see, man, for people like me, I haven't upgraded yet, so it puts me out.
Right.
Well,
they do come with a Blu-ray.
They do?
Yep.
Is that every Vinegar Syndrome 4K also comes with a blue?
I don't know if everyone has, but I think everyone has. I'm not going to guarantee that, but this one for sure does, and I think most of them have.
Okay.
Yeah, the art on some of these is pretty decent. Yeah. Especially on this Lost Picture Show set. I like what the style.
That's
that
cool. I do like that painting. Yeah.
Very interesting setup, and it'll be a landscape box set for them, which they have not done before, obviously. And really, I mean, the only tie for these films is that they were essentially lost films. These aren't things that we can link by director, can link by studio, or anything like that. Sandro says, I'm a bit confused. Do we think that these pre-sale prices will be cheaper than what subscribers are getting them for? Well, I can tell you what subscribers are getting them for, because that is the sale price. So for the Prophecy set, the sale price on this is $50, not $63. So subscribers are basically paying $50 for that. And then a VSU, your subscribers don't get this anyways, but we would pay $32.50 for this. And then on the Lost Picture Show, this says it's a $120 box set, so it would be $60 on sale.
Are you a subscriber?
I am, yes. I unfortunately go all in on those blind buys.
Well, Ryan from New World, he's a subscriber too, and he's
Yep.
Right. Yep, Ryan. He's he tries to sell that to us, but it's upfront. It's quite the cost, but I mean, in the long run, it's one of the best deals out there, I feel like.
Right. It's pretty great, especially to guarantee that you get everything that they're putting out that year. That's astonishing.
Right.
Although I guess the everything aspect has been watered down over the years, and now there's no VSEA, no VSU, no VSP, no Melusine.
Oh yeah.
There's all kinds of, but at least you get discounts on all of those.
Sure.
Yes, Sandro. The only thing that subscribers need to worry about is the VSU. Everything else is already coming to you. Wave says Fatal Games, Lost Picture Show, and Prophecy don't show edition sizes. That's not weird, actually. When the Flash pre-orders go up, they have not done that for years. They've kept that a secret until afterwards. Although sometimes, depending on when they put them up on the checklist, they've told on themselves that way, where they won't tell you here, but you go on the checklist and it says 10,000 available or something. Let's see. Half of the releases are unwatchable, says Ragnar.
Well.
And that's the thing. Are they showing any let's see, usually in here we get some hints as to what's coming. Let's check that out. Two more titles that we're not going to tell you about. Perhaps the craziest of the bunch, the surprise titles, one of which is Will.
Take out the is.
Will mark the UHD debut of a major work by one of genre cinema's greatest auteurs, and the other is a criminally underseen gem of early 80s horror. We can basically guarantee that you're not going to be disappointed. That's pretty ballsy.
Yeah, that's a lot of hyperbole in there.
Let's see. And then on this one, it's usually slightly different worded. This one says, this upcoming duo will be no different, including the world 4K debut of a slimy epic from one of the greatest genre filmmakers to ever live, along with another never-on-disc treasure that will surely satiate those craving squirm-inducing carnage.
Good word, satiate. I appreciate who's writing the copy there.
I guarantee they're using the word squirm there to get somebody to think that they're putting out Squirm.
Squirm, yeah.
Which it's not going to be that.
No.
Did we subscribers not used to get discounts on the regular VS releases in the past? Mine are showing regular price, like if I wanted to buy a second copy. You do not get discounts on regular VS prices, and that's never been the case, ever.
Huh.
So you get one copy of them as part of your sub. You do not get discounted second copies.
Oh, okay, so, gotcha.
But if you want to get VSUs, you can get, I believe, 2 at the discounted price. VSUs, VSAs, VSPs, you can all use twice on that discount. So what do you think overall? How do you feel about the box set?
That box set is really interesting. Obviously, I am into, man, Lost is such a key word for me.
Yeah.
But that, my God.
It gets even better. Let me go back to that picture in full screen.
Oh,
that is kind of creepy.
Which is okay. So I hate Meet the Feebles. Oh my God. Meet the Feebles, I just think is stupid. That looks creepy as hell. So that would be a huge selling point for me, just that one movie alone. Do they have run times on any of these?
No, not listed here. Somebody's looked them up on IMDb.
Oh,
They're all rated under 5s, of course.
what is the name of that?
That set really feels like the early days of Vinegar Syndrome. I would agree entirely there. I'm actually kind of curious. Like this is one of those things where, and people have complained on either side of what I'm about to say here, and I totally get that. So this is either going to be super appealing, or you're going to hate this. People have been complaining that Vinegar Syndrome has gotten too studio friendly or mainstream in the titles that they're putting out. This is the type of thing where you could drop this and keep a lot of people happy, and then do only mainstream things for a while and really hit those titles hard to go. But look, we just put out 10 Lost films in a box set, and you all ate that up.
I mean, just like any theater too, the bigger titles fund the shit you really want to put out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's catching your eye the most?
I mean, Daryl is certainly interesting.
Hmm.
I've seen at least the first 2 prophecies. I don't know if I've seen any of the other sequels, so I'm not like chomping at the bit to see those. I've still never seen Fatal Games. Once everybody started begging for it, I knew somebody was going to put it out soon, so I've just held off on it.
Sure.
Very eager to see Fatal Games, and then, I mean, this box set is definitely the most intriguing thing. But the thing is, I'm not necessarily expecting masterpieces or anything, but it's just very cool.
It is. And I mean, you get 10, right?
Yes, 10 films.
10 films for, go up to the price again.
It is very cheap.
Price? Yeah.
$75.
I mean, you break that down, and that's how I always justify box sets to my wife, right? Well, 10 films, $75. You're talking
$7.50 a piece.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I would not expect, a James Cameron masterpiece from. I'm not a big James Cameron fan. I'm just giving the man shit. For $7.50,
And when you think about it, it's 10 films plus the new Elijah Drenner documentary is kind of 11 films.
True.
But the question is, I mean, what does it say about features on here again? It says newly written essays and historical analysis. Not much. It doesn't say anything about extras, really. I would imagine, considering it's less than $7.50 a film, they're probably not going to be a ton of extras in here. It's probably going to be 5 or 6 cases, each one with 2 discs in it, and then the books set in there in this landscape box. Not a lot of extras. I don't know.
Are you an extras fiend?
I tend to be. I feel like that's where I get the most value out of these, especially with things like visual essays and depending on who the commentary is from, I definitely get a lot out of there.
Sure. Yeah. I tend not to be, although I'm a sucker for a video essay.
Yep.
And if I would love to be able to just rip commentaries and listen to those, instead of like podcasts. But I just don't have the time to do that. But when I review this stuff, that's why I take care to actually sit down and listen to each and every commentary, watch every single extra, and then be sure to at least blurb it in my reviews, because I know this stuff is important to many people. And there's so much work goes into this stuff.
Yep. It's true. It's certainly a lot of work. And yes, Sibner, I see that it says more info to come, but the thing that I'm hinging on is like on the prophecy, it says additional extras information coming. The box set just says more info to come. For Daryl, it says additional extras information coming. On Fatal Games, it says additional extras information. The box set is the only one that omits the word extras.
Huh. So that's your indicator that extras will probably be light.
Will probably be light or almost
Or
non-existent.
Non-existent, yeah.
Which honestly, again, 11 films for $75. Plus, it's 2 books. I read the booklets. I read as much as I can for these, so I completely get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow, Joel from Scarecrow says Justin Liberty said on Facebook the set will have hours of extras. Huh. I mean, that's enough. I'm kind of surprised they downplayed that. Then
I wonder if they accidentally. I don't know, because there was a typo. I'm not trying to pick scabs on the copy, but whatever. Yeah, that Daryl, I came across that when watching Snapshot, and then we for F This Movie we watched The Phantom for F This Movie Fest. But Simon Windsor, man, Free Willy. We grew up watching that, right? Quigley Down Under, solid movie. Harley Davidson and Marlboro Man, solid. So I'm sold on the Simon Windsor movie.
Yeah, very, very interested there. Decent overall slate, though. I mean, the big thing, an 11 film box set with these other films, that's a lot to do all at once. And keep in mind, this isn't even the whole slate. There's still 2 more releases coming.
Craig, is it Craig from Deaf Crocodile? That's an interesting question. Does he, as someone who releases movies, would he not do that?
Deaf Crocodile has never announced a title without having all of the details ready.
Okay.
But there's other things that are weird about how some of these labels do this. Like Shout Factory, the way that I've seen behind the scenes, I worked on one of the discs. They knew all of the extras before the title was announced. I had completed them. I turned them all in.
Yeah.
And they still didn't announce them.
Didn't announce them. Okay.
And that's what seems weird to me, is because a lot of these companies, we just saw it tonight with Severin. Severin and 88 Films are both releasing the same title. If you announce your extras, you're going to talk people into buying whichever one they're going to choose from.
Okay, so I'm thinking, remember when Kino announced the Columbo set and said all these commentaries and all this stuff, and then the next day we're like, okay, we can't. But they had Amanda, like all these people had already recorded all these commentaries and had promoted them, and then Kino said, oh shit, whatever happened, I wasn't privy to details. We can't include them, even though everybody had already been paid for their work. So maybe that's something to do here. I don't know. Clearing legal stuff. I don't know. I'm only speculating.
Possibly. Yeah, that's true. Joel says Shout leaves a lot of the extras off of the disc art as well. There are many times like
true. Yeah.
They've bragged about it in the past. I think it was Escape from New York. They just copped out at the end and said, and many more. Very curious how that happens. But yeah, there's lots of stuff that they'll be done and
more. Yeah. Dot. Right.
They've got stuff not listed that is clearly a big deal. And if a consumer is going to be comparing to another title, why would you not want all the details? And I agree with Craig. That Kino fiasco does seem like a wild one-off. And I have to wonder, I don't think it's legal based. I have a feeling it was either the studio didn't like something that was said on one commentary or something and said, well, fine, you can't have any of them. Either that or Peter Falk's estate got word of something, that was on the disc and said, no, we're not going to allow that to be associated with it. That's the only way I could see those being stopped in their tracks.
Yeah, because you like that. I think that was so shocking about Kino, because they're always very professional, about what they do. So that was the real shocking thing. Based on
Yeah.
extras.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Sivner says, I remember being sold on a Blade in the Dark, and that was before both cuts and both on 4K and all the colors doc were announced. Yeah, when they first announced Blade in the Dark during the last sale, they basically said, we know this is expensive, but there's going to be a lot on it. Trust us. Which is kind of an odd stance to take. I got to be honest. Craig says, those ones that are on the disc that they don't tell you about, those are called Easter eggs. It's hilarious. Man, yeah, these are great. And keep in mind, too, it is September 21st right now. In 9 days, we get another batch of Vinegar Syndrome announcements for the month of October.
Yeah.
So we're not done yet. We get more partner labels announced on that same day.
Oh, my God.
There's partner label announcements coming on November 1st. There's so many releases coming out. It is crazy. Absolutely overwhelming. And this is just Vinegar Syndrome. Imagine there's Severin that's coming with the Black Friday slate. There's Makeflix always has something new on Black Friday. There's so much. So much.
See, this is where it all becomes a little overwhelming for me, and I just say, all right, never mind. I'm not getting anything.
Right. I completely get it.
Yeah, physical media is dead. Obviously.
It was a slow week, and tonight we had, I think, like 53 titles to cover or something.
I mean, we had to rattle off 1982 like auctioneers because there's so many releases. Yeah, it's crazy the amount. I mean, it's hard to keep up. With, I mean, even you, I can't imagine you do anything but just have to sit and post all day on social media. Okay, this is coming. Holy shit! This okay, and this, yeah.
Some days it's crazy.
Yes, thank you, Craig.
Yeah, the schedule of one disc per month is certainly helpful. Oh man, it's hard to complain though, especially lately with getting some of the announcements for some of these titles that we've been told for years, like that will never come out.
Sure.
Now here we are, Della Morte Dell'Amore coming from Severin in 4K.
Oh yeah, right. That was, man, that seems like the big one of the year when that was announced, because I had lost all hope, and I don't even love that movie.
Yeah.
But it was one of those, like, I'd like to see it, get a release of some sort.
Dead Sea Life says it's like when I put 700 titles in my Kino cart and then walk away from the computer, get in the car, go to the airport, and leave the country because I can't bring myself to hit place order. That's smart because Kino doesn't ship overseas, so you're just keeping yourself accountable.
But 700 titles, you're going to get that free shipping. You're obviously over the $50
just barely. Oh, that's amazing.
14. I mean, God. Jeez.
Holy shit, Terry, don't say it like this. Terry says, good possibility that there will be around 40 more partner labels titles announced before the end of the year. And it's true, because I believe they said there's 12 coming in October. There will probably be around 12 to 15 in November. And then in December, don't forget, everybody, 2 more partner labels are starting with Vinegar Syndrome in December. So, what is even the name of it? I can't even, IFC. They're going to put out their first
IFC,
title in December. Right. And then there's one more that's starting in December. So, yeah. And then Justin, in my last conversation with him, just said, and we're getting more partner labels early next year.
Jeez.
Like, they're going to be up to, I think, 26 after these 2 start in December.
I mean, at what point is it too much?
Right.
And I'm not complaining by any means, but I just think it's I mean, it's cool. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's great.
Ronnie says, quick question, can I borrow $1,000 from somebody?
No kidding. Jeez.
And that's the thing. Physical media is obviously not dead, and there's a lot going on right now. In 1 month we're getting well over like 200 releases at least. And the crazy thing is, at the height of DVD, what we're seeing right now would be nothing compared to that. They did a lot of stuff around then. The hard part is right now, especially, we are seeing a lot of re-releases. We're seeing a lot of stuff that has been released on Blu-ray, now coming out on 4K, or released on Blu-ray and then coming out on Blu-ray again from another company with more extras, with a new 4K scan, or what have you. But the big thing, we are still getting some of these titles that have never been on disc, have never been on home video. Imprint is a great example of that. Every single month, there's at least one title that's never been released on home video ever, anywhere in the world. That's insanity. And I hope we see more and more of that.
And then sometimes Raro releases a disc, and then 2 years later they release the disc again. No,
and then 3 more years later, then you'll get the first disc. Yeah, that's a good call too. Sibner says back then we didn't have shipping to deal with. You just went to Best Buy or Circuit City or HMV or FYE.
True.
It was a very different world back then. All of us that are region free, we were the exceptions back then, and now it seems to be, to get the best of everything, you kind of have to be region free.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that was sort of my selling point to Bobby, my wife, is like, there's, listen, I buy movies, and a lot of these movies I want to see, you can't get them here. So,
That's
but
true.
Now look at it.
And then on top of that, there's a lot of Sleepaway Camp is or Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 at least is out of print in the US, but you can go to 88 Films and get it for like $10.
Yeah.
And it's region locked. If you don't have that player and you want those movies desperately enough, you're gonna have to go online and find them for like $60 a piece.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna be the only one here, but I'm anti slipcover.
Interesting.
So, when people start lovingly, I'll say, whining about not having the slipcover, I'm like, I'm home free, baby. I'll take the disc. That's fine. It's like I got the Shiva baby without the slipcover. I'm like, perfect.
Right.
So I'm all about it, Craig.
I get it.
I give people shit about their slipcovers, but I also get like they're beautiful and they look great all lined up. But most of my collection doesn't have slipcovers, and ones that do stand out like a sore thumb. So
I got to admit, I have longed for the day when I wouldn't have any slipcovers, because the amount of shelf space I would make up losing all of them would be mind blowing.
Oh yeah. So the joke was between my friend James and I is we would get the slipcovers and then just take them off and keep them in a drawer. And then our friend Matt Bledsoe was like, why are you could be selling those? Because I hate to say it, I have thrown away so many slip just thrown away. Like good, Kino slipcovers, Shout Factory, sorry.
It is wild that I have seen slipcovers sell on eBay for $140 just for the slip, or more. It's wild. I agree with this. Sibner says slipcovers I like, J cards I don't understand.
What's a J card?
J card is on it's like on a steelbook when they've got this crap that comes off.
Oh god, yeah.
And it's because you hold it to the side and it's shaped like a J.
Oh, where's my?
And that's why slipcovers are also called O cards sometimes.
Okay, where the hell? Here we go.
Because it's a full O.
Would this be my Donnie Darko?
Yep, that's a J card. Yeah.
Well, I'll just get rid of that. Yeah, that, you know what? I had 7. Hold on, let me find. Oh, the DVD of 7. It was like it's some sort of special edition, but this 2-disc thing. It's this big fold out deal. Forever, I hated how cumbersome it was, but then I saw how much it was selling for on eBay. I thought, oh, look at that, I have this. Probably
Nice.
got it for like $10, in '97 or whatever.
David says, replace your slipcover with red case Mondo editions, and I'm an idiot for them. Yeah, I love the red cases for Mondo Macabro too.
I also like the, Severin was one of the first doing the black cases, and I always thought those
Yep.
looked really slick.
They look really nice. I agree.
I don't have any Mondo movies. I would love to have a red.
They are really nice. Do I have any close? No, I just finally put all my Mondos away from that show that we did recently. God, they're all over. There's so many.
They right. They're doing Cafe Flesh. Yes,
Cafe Flesh. Yeah,
that's the big one. That's in book 2 of Cult Movies. Danny Perry.
Yeah, and that's to go back to the podcast. It is such a great idea, and he wrote the perfect treasure map for people. The books are incredible. Obviously, so many people have fallen in love with them over time, but it's such a wonderful idea to just take that as a guide and really relay a podcast around that.
Yeah, it's for me. It's sort of, there's an end to it too, where many podcasts, it's just like, okay, week after week, we're going to talk about a movie. Me, there's 200 movies we're going to talk about, and then we're done.
Yep.
And a lot of these movies I had never heard of before I started reading his books. And, 20 Mondo releases in the past week. Gotta wash your brain out. Jesus.
I thought my Don Bluth week was rough, but 20 Mondos is crazy.
Oh, slipcovers are like, yeah, I agree. Slipcovers are like baseball cards. So I just dug out my baseball cards and basketball cards, and I went and bought a Beckett. You remember Beckett's?
Uh-huh.
I went and bought a Beckett. Nothing's worth anything. They're not worth anything.
I dug this up. I made $5.12.
I know exactly. It's like taking 2 boxes of movies and books to half price books, and like, we'll give you $1.25 for them.
Right.
Oh, and so now I can't throw these cards away because they're such a huge part of my childhood. But what do I do?
Right.
So I'm thinking, you know what? You slipcover people, you're going to be in the same. Same boat. Yeah.
The crazy thing is, if you exit early enough, some of these people could have bought like an entire collection just from the money they've made from slipcover
Slipcovers, yes.
Crazy. I mean, even some of the wacky cheap ones like Scream Factory slipcovers have gone for crazy money. Like Jeepers Creepers, which a pedophile directed movie. The slipcover for that I've seen sell for upwards of like $75.
Good
Why?
God.
Why?
It's like paying $50 for a TJ Miller slipcover.
At least that's 4K.
Yeah, 4K. And I'm not equating TJ Miller to anyways. Yes, volume 3, David Holland, thank you. Not volume 2. Cafe Flesh is in volume 3. Yeah, so I'm super stoked for that because that has even been hard to find on, the disreputable streaming sites, right, on the internet. So that was very exciting. And I thought something might be around the corner when Jonathan released the soundtrack, right, which was great. So I thought, well, maybe there is hope. And
that, and with Mondo putting out Dr. Caligari the year prior.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. That was the big indicator. Yep.
Yeah. And then, of course, Heather Drain being involved is exciting.
Absolutely.
Heather being on your podcast a few times.
Yep. Yep. She, she's writing the Stephen Sadian book. So and everybody knew if they ever get Cafe Flesh, if they find the materials to be able to release it, Heather will be absolutely 100% involved.
Oh man, this has been an interesting look at not really anything as expected, except for prophecy, I guess, since we knew that was coming.
Oh, is this are we more disappointed in this lineup, or are we not as enthused as one would hope?
I am whelmed.
Okay.
It's about exactly as expected. I honestly, I did expect a little bit of a bigger title from the VSU,
Okay.
but nothing against this. I'm more fascinated to see stuff that I've never seen,
Sure.
and that's always exciting.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, it's been an incredible night having somebody brand new to the show. Thank you. 1982, tons of announcements, Vinegar Syndrome Live. Anything else about either of your F This Movie or cult movies that you want to cover for everybody?
Just head to fthismovie.com every Friday. That's when my column appears. And then on Tuesdays I'll have Blu-ray reviews over there. And eventually I'll get the podcasting bug again and get back to volumes 2 and 3 of cult movies. But I'm just having fun hanging out, getting to meet new people like Mr. Verrill here and talk to everybody on the chat here. This has been a blast. This is awesome.
I'm glad that we could make you feel comfortable in your first live show. I think you did pretty incredible.
Thanks. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I think this is probably a perfect time to call it for tonight. We don't have a ton to cover with just a couple titles being announced, and I appreciate everybody hanging out for another live. We'll be live again next Thursday. I got another interview going up on Monday. More exciting stuff all the time. If you're into the Physical Media Advocate, the zine link is in the description below. Join the Patreon. I never hyped that up enough. We're doing our watch along this weekend. If you join up now, you can go vote on the poll. We're going to watch in a Discord Sunday night, so you got plenty of time to join up and vote and get ready to watch with us. All that being said, again, Anthony, this has been amazing. I hope you come back again.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. This is a lot of fun.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. See you next Thursday, and have a good week.